touched on people's lives.
Pull up a chair. You are welcomed here.
Willie came up with the statement, and he says, you know what? He says, we're down 3-1. There's a pretty good possibility we may not win this World Series. But he says, before we go home, if indeed we are going to go home, before we go home, let's show the whole world how the Buccos really play baseball.
They looked like they were in shock. They all looked like zombies, except for Dave Parker, who came out saying, blank them. We're not done yet. We're coming back in this series.
I don't think there was a man on the ball club. I don't think one of the bat boys, I don't think any of the clubhouse guys thought we were going to lose. I think even at down 3-1, everybody thought, well, this is just the way it is. We just make it a little tough on ourselves, but we'll come back and win.
An exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. It's the 1979 World Series, Game 5. Live from Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, the American League champion Baltimore Orioles and the National League champion Pittsburgh Pirates. The Orioles now up 3-1, winning 9-6 yesterday. Tim Stoddard ended it with his strikeout of Adot. And what a day for Stoddard. On the mound and at the plate. His first hit in organized baseball. It came in the 8th inning, drove in a run. Also in the 8th, off the bench, John Lowenstein, pinch hitter, 2-run double. And then Terry Crowley, the same result. Today, Game 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the starting lineups for today's game. The champions of the American League, the Baltimore Orioles. Manager Earl Weaver. Leading off, shortstop Pico Garcia. Batting second, left fielder Benny Ayala. The third place hitter, right fielder Ken Singleton. In the cleanup position, first baseman Eddie Murray. Hitting fifth, center fielder Gary Renicky. Batting sixth, third baseman Doug DeCinces. In the 7th spot, second baseman Rich Gower. The 8th place hitter, catcher Rick Dempsey. Batting ninth and warming up in the bullpen, pitcher Mike Flanagan. And the remainder of the Baltimore Orioles. Now, your National League champion Pittsburgh Pirates. Manager Chuck Tanner. Batting first, center fielder Omar Marino. The second place hitter, shortstop Tim Foley. Hitting third, right fielder Dave Parker. In the fourth spot, left fielder Bill Robinson. Batting fifth, first baseman Willie Stargell. Hitting sixth, third baseman Bill Madlock. In the seventh spot, catcher Steve Nicosia. The eighth place hitter, second baseman Phil Garner. Batting ninth and warming up in the bullpen, pitcher Jimmy Rooker. The rest of the champion Pirates. And now, ladies and gentlemen, since yesterday, two members of the Pirates family have left us. Ann Tanner, mother of Chuck Tanner, passed away this morning. Yesterday afternoon, Edgar B. Spear, a member of the board of directors and recently retired chief executive officer of the United States Steel Corporation, passed away. Our heartfelt sympathy goes to their families. Will you please rise for a moment of silence in their memory? And now let's honor America with our national anthem, which will be sung by Miss America of 1977, Dorothy Benham Anderson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets that a flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the
Dorothy Anderson with our national anthem as we get set for game number 5, a duel of left-handers. Mike Flanagan on the mound for Baltimore. He won 23 during the regular season. Jim Rooker, the surprise starter for the Pirates. We'll be right back.
When Chuck Tanner's mother passed away Saturday evening, none of us knew about it then, but we did. Most of us found out about it either when we got to the clubhouse, or in my case, I found out on the way to the clubhouse in the car. I heard it on the radio. And you know, you're now in a situation where you're down 3-1 in the World Series. We're talking about, you know, what do we need to do, and then you throw this on top of it.
Well, definitely we felt for him. Our hearts went out to him, and it just enhanced our desire to win for him. And his mother was a big fan. She would always send messages in to the players and tell Chuck to tell us to do various things. So she was like a part of the team as well.
After talking about his mother passing away on Saturday, he says, you know what? said, my mother was probably one of the biggest Pirate fans ever. And he said, she knew we were in trouble and needed some help, and she went to get it.
The Pittsburgh Pirates say thank you to all those serving others and serving on the front lines so that we can all stay home.
We know that we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible to this virus.
A question I often get asked is, why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
Social distancing is really physical separation of people.
It's what we refer to when we ask people to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, not going to theaters where there are a lot of people. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others who might actually be infected or infect you.
We all have a role to play in preventing person-to-person spread of this disease, which can be deadly for vulnerable groups. For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
There's a copy of the Baltimore Sun laying on a table in the middle of the clubhouse. It was just laying there. Nobody said anything about it. It was just laying there. On the front page of the Baltimore Sun was the parade route for Tuesday for the Baltimore Orioles victory parade. I will never forget the mayor's name. I don't know his first name. His name was Schaefer. And it was in the paper that, when the parade was going to be and where it was going to take place. So, in essence, all we were trying to do was, A, show the world, how the Buccos really played baseball. B, do something to help our manager take his mind off for just a couple hours what had just happened to him the night before losing his mother. And C, canceling a parade.
They had planned a parade route, and we found out about it, and all that did was good bulletin board information for us to inspire us to kick their butts.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, may we turn your attention to the commissioner's box, which is located at the first base end of the Pirates dugout. Today's ceremonial first pitch will be made by the former Pirate second baseman, Bill Mazeroski. 19 years ago yesterday, he hit the home run at Forbes Field, which won the 1960 World Series over the New York Yankees.
And that's appropriate. Mazeroski with a home run to win it in 60, and the Pirates need a few miracles beginning today. Jim Rooker, today's Pirate pitcher. Howard talked to Jim earlier.
Jim, what a spot they've got you in. It's the last stand, and you've got to save.
Well, that's true. Seems like there are a lot of Indians around and no help in sight, but there aren't too many people maybe that can be put in this position, but I welcome the challenge, and I'm real happy about it. It's just a matter of going out and doing my job and hoping things turn out right.
You seem to be throwing better than you have in a long time if your performance in the first game is any yardstick. Is that true?
I believe so. I've gone through a lot of injuries this year and been on the disabled list a couple of times, and I think I'm probably more, or at least at this point, a lot healthier now than I was during the course of the season. So I think that, with the fact that I haven't had to pitch that much this year, probably has allowed me to be a little bit stronger at this time of the year as opposed to somebody that's maybe pitched a lot of games, a lot of innings, and maybe not be quite as strong.
What's your best pitch, Jim?
Well, I'm basically a controlled pitcher. I'm not going to overpower anybody and strike out a lot of hitters, so I've got to just get all of my pitches over the plate, stay around the plate, and basically really stay on top of the hitters. I can't afford to get behind on these Oriole hitters like the rest of our staff really has been doing as of late.
Jim Rooker, who worked in relief in Game 1 in Baltimore. The start in Game 5, the Pirates out on the field. Defensively today, it's Bill Robinson getting the start in left field, again because of the left-hander going for Baltimore, Flanagan. Omar Marino is in center. He hasn't stolen a base in the series. Neither have the Pirates. And Dave Parker over in right. Parker 7 for 17. At third base, Bill Madlock made a key error yesterday and also turned in a fine play at third. An off and on series thus far for Madlock, with Tim Foley at shortstop with 3 hits in game number 4. Talk about off and on series. There's a key example. Phil Garner at second base. Problems defensively, but Garner with 7 hits and 14 trips to the plate. And, of course, at first, the captain of the Bucks. Number 8 is number 1 in Pittsburgh, Willie Stargell. Back of the plate, Steve Nicosia, again in the platoon arrangement with Ott cashing against the right-handers, and Nicosia in the lineup against the lefties, and 37-year-old Jim Rooker on the mound. Rooker is 37. He has an 18-year-old son, David, who is a freshman at the University of Arizona and figures to be the Wildcats' starting third baseman. Rooker, a surprising starter. Everybody figuring that Chuck Tanner would opt for Bruce Keeson, who was the starter in game number 1. The Orioles going with basically the same lineup they went with the other night against the lefty Candelaria. The only change would be in the middle, where they have flip-flopped DeCinces and Renicky. But the same cast of characters that provided the impetus initially in the 8-4 win in game number 3. And here was the man who was the big hero in game number 3 with 4 runs batted in. Had 2 more RBIs yesterday. Kiko Garcia, Ayala, and Singleton to start it off in game number 5. Garcia celebrating his 26th birthday today. It's a family affair. His dad, Alphonse, is 54. His Uncle Louis is 52 today. Here we go. Game 5. 0-1 the count. The umpires, an American League umpire at the plate today. Jim McKean, Paul Runge of the National League at first, Jerry Neudecker, American second, Bob Engel, National at third, Russ Getz, American left field line, Terry Tate, a National, down the line and right. 0-2 the count.
Well, you had to be impressed with Jim Rooker on the opening night of the series. When he came on, he worked 3 2/3 innings, allowed just 2 hits, and he threw well. He was well in command. He had a good curveball, and he had a good fastball. He can be a little sneaky fast. Jim, he's got a nice, easy motion. That fastball can get on you a little bit.
Fouled away.
I liked what Rooker said, because he was admitting the differences between the 2 staffs in that interview he did with me. I've got to keep the ball around the plate. I can't give anything away. Let them walk. It's told in the statistics of the series, maybe the most telling statistic. I'll continue right after Rooker makes this pitch. All right, I'll continue now. 19 birds have walked. Only 8 bucks have walked, Don.
Well, you can't afford to be giving up all those free passes, especially in a World Series. You know, the big thing, walks are going to be part of the game, but if you can minimize your walks, and you might maybe have an average of 2 a game, that's a good game for anybody. Now, whether that's one pitcher or your whole staff, but you start getting up into the 5 and 6s and you're in trouble.
2-2 the count on Garcia. Rooker used to be a very deliberate worker. He was pitching well early this season, and thought one of the reasons was he had speeded up the tempo. Hit in the air, down the right field line, and curling and going foul, back out of play. So the count stays 2-2 on Garcia.
There's a guy out there that just picked up that ball, Dave Parker. He is playing, and he is not 100%. He has got the bad knee. He went into the fence yesterday to grab a fly ball. He's got a bad shoulder, but I'll tell you, he's still going strong. He's still a threat. The Bucks, though, as I said before, they have not put it all together in this series, and even to a man, they have come out and said that. This is not our ball club. People have not seen our ball club yet.
Fouled back, 2-2.
Well, you made an effective point in your opening when you talked about the Bucks' failure with men on bases. Look, thus far in this series, the Bucks are hitting for a .329 average. The Birds for only .266. However, with men on bases in scoring position, thank you very much, the Birds are hitting .289, the Bucks only .243. Another telling statistic.
Broken bat, Looper, and Rooker makes the catch, a basket catch. Last time we saw that was 54 with Mays off Wirtz. Over the shoulder.
Now there's a play. If Rooker doesn't make that play, I don't believe they get Garcia. But I said before, Jim started off in his professional career, as we look at it again, and good instincts right here. He was a former outfielder in the Tiger organization, and he makes the play, and he makes it look easy, but a very good heads-up play by Rooker.
Here's Benny Ayala making his second start in the series. 2 for 2 against Candelaria the other night, a single, and then a home run.
In the meantime, did you hear Earl Weaver tell me in the pregame show, tall ball, that he started up. He talked about how little was left on his bench. He started up to it yesterday. He said, Ayala might as well leave the pitcher up against a right-hander.
2-0.
Well, there's a man right there that he's got the whole baseball world confused. I'll guarantee you that.
2-1 the count on Ayala.
I have never seen more baseball people shaking their head and trying to figure out Earl Weaver than I did yesterday after the game when we went over to the ABC hospitality place.
Bouncer to short. Tim Foley. 2 down. Well, you know, one thing about the Orioles, Weaver contending that he uses everybody, and certainly he has proven that. He's proven that in the first 4 games. Every Oriole has gotten into the first 4 games of the series, and interestingly, all but one of the Pirates, only Dave Roberts, has not worked for Pittsburgh.
Well, both of these managers, why, they're firm believers. They will platoon, both of them, as we see this afternoon, and they go to their bench a lot. They take advantage of all 25 men.
Ken Singleton looks at a strike. 90 miles an hour, the last pitch from Rooker.
That's not bad for a man that's been on the disabled list twice this year.
There's a change, missing outside.
Kenny's 7 for 17, hitting .412 in the series, but he's not that happy with the series he's having because of 3 important strikeouts.
1-2 the count.
He's only knocked in 2 runs in the series, Don.
Well, Ken had an interesting statement you told me about this morning when they were talking about the managerial moves of Earl Weaver.
Fly ball to center field. Omar Moreno will handle this one. And an auspicious beginning for Pittsburgh as Rooker sets the Orioles down in order after a half. In Game 5, it's Baltimore 0. And the Pirates coming up.
So Chuck Tanner goes and he gives the ball to Jim Rooker, who had been on the DL like 3 different times during the course of the year. He had pitched a little bit of relief in Game 1, and he gives the ball to Rooker in Game 5, and it was one of the greatest strokes of genius I have ever seen.
Jim Rooker coming in, who had been a journeyman, who had pitched okay for us that year, but now he comes in the biggest game of his life, and you know, it's over.
He gave us an outing that was just incredible. I mean, it was almost like an MVP performance, and it came from who people thought was the most unlikely guy. But I felt good about Jim being out there.
Look for that spark, and we've seen a lot of that spark out of Triangle Tech.
For somebody like me, I didn't have any electrical experience whatsoever, so it really took me from the basics, the ground floor basics, up to being able to complete jobs by myself.
25% of our employees have come from there, and we're very proud of that.
My supervisors trust me to complete my jobs on time, and Triangle Tech really helped give me the skills to do that.
Triangle Tech graduates are hired to do important jobs. No one trains you like Triangle Tech.
Omar Marino was the one that really gave us the last dimension that we needed to be a really good team.
He was a great leadoff hitter. You know, he worked the pitcher extremely well, and once he got on base, he was guaranteed to steal one or two bases, second or third. And I nicknamed him the Pink Panther from the way that he went and got the ball in center field. I mean, he just glides to the ball.
Tanner always told me, he said, look, you look at your ball club and you build it based on what you can do. But in Tanner's heart, he wanted to run. He wanted a team that could run a little bit because he felt like you put a lot of pressure on the opposition by running. You make them have to move. You get infielders out of position. You get the pitchers distracted a little bit. So Omar, when his evolution was that it fit right into what Chuck wanted to do. So he goes to Omar and says, I want you running. I want to get on there and run. That's what you were born to do. You go do it. And Omar did it and did it very well.
As we go to the bottom of the first inning with no score, a look at the Pirate lineup. And Omar Marino to stand in. Marino and Parker, the left-handers in the lineup, against the lefty Flanagan. First pitch, a strike. Don, you started to make the point about Singleton and Weaver in the top of the first.
Howard was commenting on that.
Kenny said, in response to all the talk about Earl and his magic, beauty. Took something off that, as you saw. Kenny said, sure, Earl makes the moves, but we're the guys who execute. We're the ones who deserve the credit. Well, that's exactly what Weaver said in the pregame show interview, Al.
1-2 the count. Yeah, but you know, Earl might be a little self-effacing, I think. He deserves a lot. Look at the defense for the Orioles with Bunbury out of the lineup, so Renicky gets the start in center field, Ayala in left, Singleton in right. Dower getting the start today at second base. As Marino goes down swinging. One away.
Now 4 runs were chalked up as you look at this again, Don.
Here's just a good, hard breaking pitch right here. Marino just outmatched with this pitch. Good location.
Weaver stayed with Flanagan, for which Weaver, an example of what you were talking about. Weaver and Weaver alone deserves the credit in the first game of the series. But he pointed out, and rightly so, Flanagan only gave up 2 earned runs.
A strike. Exactly. And there were so many situations in that game where you thought toward the end he would come out. It was 5-0 at one point, and of course it wound up 5-4 with the tying run stranded at third. 1-1. Well, you look at Earl during the series, Howard. He's a hero in game 1, goat in game 2 in a sense.
Yeah, when he didn't bunt Lowenstein.
Right.
And he's been the hero ever since.
You bet. 1-1 pitch. A strike in the count, 1-2. Flanagan with the 91-mile-an-hour fastball. One-two pitch to Tim Foley. Checks in time. Pitch missing inside. 2-2.
That's a pitch right there that Flanagan can get right-handers out on. He's got a good, hard, biting curveball that he can bring it right down into the knees and just below the knees. He's got a good downward break to it.
2-2 pitch is hit foul outside first.
You do an interview with Earl, you've got to piece apart every word because he knows what he's saying in the context and perspective of the whole league.
Hit to center field. Renicky coming on and makes the catch. He hesitated at first.
Well, left field is his normal position and best. But recently he's been playing in center, and he is, on balance, a good defensive outfielder. Notice when Earl was talking about Flanagan, to amplify what I was talking about, Don, he said Mike had voted the best curveball in the league until Guidry came up with that slider. So you know he's always thinking about the whole league.
Well, he's got it pretty well in perspective. He won more games than anybody in baseball, 102.
Dave Parker takes up high, ball 1. Parker with 4 hits in game number 1 off Flanagan. Fouled away. It's interesting that both number 3 hitters, Parker and Singleton, coming into the game exactly the same stats. As we remind you tonight, it's the Rams against Dallas in a big one. Special Sunday edition. And then tomorrow, the regular Monday night edition. Monday Night Football. First time ever from New York as the Minnesota Vikings take on the Jets. Both games at 9 o'clock Eastern, tonight and tomorrow.
Well, as I've said, the Rams and the Cowboys, as good a matchup as you can get in the National Football Conference. The Rams beginning to put things together, always with a great defense. Hobbled somewhat tonight by the absence of offensive lineman John Williams and their 2 wide receivers. We'll be giving you today's NFL scores very soon.
1 ball, 1 strike on Parker with 2 out and the base is empty in the first inning. Popped up in foul ground. The sensei coming over, but might have a play and just runs out of room in the second row.
I asked Dave what he was going to do to improve on the 4 hits he got off Flanagan the first time around. He said get 4 more, 2 of them 3-run homers.
He and Singleton, the same stats, each with 7 hits and 17 trips to the plate coming in. Neither has homered in the series, and each with 2 runs batted in. I think what you said about Singleton, Howard, can be applied to Parker. He's hit well, but he really hasn't been that instrumental offensively.
More particularly about Willie Stargell.
That's right, Stargell, 7 for 18.
There have been 5 key situations where Stargell has failed with men on base in this series. Willie's well aware of them.
And down goes Parker. So Flanagan strikes out 2 in the inning. Each side out in order. We go to the second. Baltimore nothing, Pittsburgh nothing.
The Pirates were one of the most charismatic teams I've ever covered in any sport. They had more characters per square inch than you could imagine.
We had so many different guys from different walks of life, from different socioeconomic backgrounds, black, white, Panamanian, other Latin players. We had them from all over.
Nationality-wise, it was like the United Nations of baseball. Had so many different countries represented in the clubhouse. Actually had 3 Panamanians on the team. Whoever thought you'd have a team with 3 Panamanians on it. So a very diverse cultural mixture of people on that ball club, and yet because of Willie's personality, and he was the dominant personality in the clubhouse. Everybody knew that, and everybody appreciates that. But because of his type of personality, when you walked into that clubhouse, there were no nationalities. They were all guys in gold shirts and said Pirates across the front. And Willie's favorite saying was, hey, this guy might be this guy might be that, but when we put these shirts on, we're all buccos.
Swinging a deep fly ball to right, and Josh Bell has hit another one out of here.
And welcome to PNC Park.
Kevin Newman, his 3rd home run of the game, just won it. Praise the Jolly Roger.
The '79 season was not a cakewalk. This is a team, it took a long while for it to find its way. It was not a wire-to-wire team. It didn't speed off and say, hey, come and catch me. They were behind much of the season, and they began to catch fire, not uncoincidentally, with some of the additions they made.
We'd been a team that had been down 10 to 12 games to Montreal, to Philadelphia, midway through the season. We mounted a huge comeback all year long, and we'd won a bunch of games late in the inning, late comeback games. We'd won a bunch of games in the ninth inning. So we had this mentality that down but never out.
Looking down into Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Beautiful ballpark that opened in the middle of the 1970 season. Second time the World Series has been played here. Do it for 21, of course. The late Roberto Clemente. The Pirates right fielder, Manny Sanguillen, mentioning it after the Bucks won Game 2. That one was for Roberto. Sanguillen's base hit in the ninth inning, the key blow. Kiko Garcia popped out in the first inning. Rooker made a nice play to get him, and it's fouled back. 0-1.
You know, knowing Kiko with his chronic back problem, he has a pinched nerve in the back. Once a month, he goes to the chiropractor who pops his back into place. You wonder how the kid has been able to do so many things.
Well, you know, he's had a pretty good year for Baltimore when you look all the way through it, because since the All-Star break, he's been doing a lot of playing for him. Didn't play the first 2 games and then really came on.
Bounce to short. Foley gets him. And 10 in a row. Set down by Jim Rooker.
So far, and it's oh so young, a perfect game for Jim Rooker. Still throwing easy. Now going against this Birds lineup second time around. So a good time to take a searching look at it. See if they're detecting anything. Can begin to get to him.
Well, he hasn't really thrown that many pitches. Both Rooker and Flanagan threw 3 innings of play. Rooker threw 33 pitches. He's thrown through, I guess, right now to Garcia to make that 35. Flanagan's gone through 28, so they're going just about head and head.
Benny Ayala grounded out in the first inning. 1-0. They don't get the appeal. Two and on the count.
Misses Ayala.
Three and on the count. So Rooker behind for the first time.
One thing he says he must avoid doing.
3-1. And he loses him. So the Orioles have their first base runner. And Rooker will be working out of the stretch for the first time as Ken Singleton comes up. Flied out in the first inning.
It'll be interesting right now to watch how Jim pitches out of the stretch position. Of course, he's done it many times in his life, but a lot of times when you get rolling along, and working out of the windup for so many times, as we said before, he's retired 10 in a row. Now he walks Ayala. Sometimes it maybe will take just a pitch or two to get himself in the groove pitching out of the stretch, and we'll have to wait and see about that.
Well, we have just lost any possibility of a repeat of Don Larson in '56.
Pop foul, back out of play.
There's Kenny's wife. You've seen it twice before as Chet Forty covers his human coverage of this World Series. It's dimensional coverage, I might add.
The strike one pitch. Did he check? They appeal. He did check. 1-1.
Well, a lot of fans doing some umpiring with their hearts out here, but
yep.
I believe Kenny checked in time. Jim McKeon, but well, I'm not real sure. He's out there. That bat is laying back there now. A lot of times when things go along like this, both of these managers, they'll just start something, make something happen.
1-1 pitch is fouled at the plate, and the count 1-2. On deck, Eddie Murray. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now Rooker, who was in great rhythm, as you look at the schedule, if necessary, game 6 Tuesday from Baltimore, 8 o'clock. If necessary, game 7 Wednesday from Baltimore at 8 o'clock. Rooker was in good rhythm, but now working deliberately, and the 1-2 pitch is fouled back.
He's mixing up his pitches, it seems to me. Very well done. That was a good evidence. He's been throwing Kenny the slow curve, dropping down. Suddenly he moves upstairs with the fastball.
He's thrown some good changeups, and he's had them in pretty good locations, too. He's just missed with a few of them. He's had a good curveball. He's jammed some right-hand hitters. And he's had an exceptional fastball so far.
2-2 the count.
Well, he's got Singleton and Murray, the 2 hitters against whom you dare not make a mistake. Oh, what a beauty.
On the inside corner, Singleton does not like the call.
Ah, he's wrong. That pitch took him by surprise. It's exactly what we were talking about. He's mixing up his pitches beautifully.
Well, he stayed away from him all the time, and now he comes back and nips that inside corner. There you see Nicosia setting inside. And it's right there. You can see now here's one of the American League umpires, Jim McKeon, who will work with the inside protector. Lee McPhail, the president of the American League, Dick Butler, the supervisor of umpires, they've given the American League umpires that option. You do not use to don't have to use, I should say, that big balloon as Murray fouls it away. And there's a lot of them going to it. Matter of fact, there's probably more in the American League right now that are using that inside protector than are not. You see also Jim has that flap hanging down that Nicosia has, started by the Dodgers' Steve Yeager, to eliminate any foul tips from going back and catching in the throat of the Adam's apple.
That has become just about standard equipment now.
Just about.
It has. Yeager had an idea, and it was a good one.
Well, you start getting hit there a few times, and you'll think of something.
Started using that, kept his health, and stopped hitting.
0-1 pitch. Popped up. Bill Garner is right there. And the Orioles are gone in the 4th inning. Rooker sailing along. No runs, no hits. They leave 1 at the end of 3 1/2 in game 5. Baltimore nothing, Pittsburgh nothing. Well, our helicopter just a few miles away now as you look down into Pitt Stadium, the home of the Panthers, the campus of the University of Pittsburgh, where yesterday the Panthers beat Cincinnati 35-0.
That's right, yesterday morning. The Cathedral of Learning. And proximate there to Old Forbes Field, no longer existing.
Tim Foley leads off in the bottom of the 4th inning. 0-1 the count. Foley's followers watched him collect 3 hits yesterday. He has 5 in the series. Bouncer foul, and the count is 0-2.
Now the outfield playing extremely shallow for Foley as Ayala will run that ball down. The center fielder Renicky, the right fielder Singleton, and Ayala will move back into a shallow position. Timmy, of course, up on that bat handle.
I tell you, we're watching Flanagan now, but how impressive Rooker has been.
The sensei on a hop. 1 out. Dave Parker coming up, struck out in the 1st inning. Now 7 for 18 in the series. He talked with Howard before the game.
Dave, it's the 2nd time around for you against Flanagan. Last time you killed him. 4 hits. What more can you do?
Well, hopefully I can get 4 more today and possibly hit 2 3-run homers and put us out in front and get this game on our belt and go to Baltimore and clinch the World Series there.
Sounds like his manager. The optimistic Chuck Tanner as Parker fouls it away. 0-1.
Well, the big thing, the Pirates right now, they're getting an excellent job so far from Jim Rooker. They've got to just kick themselves a little bit. And of course, that was the prediction by Fidel Castro. He said that he liked the Bucks.
After the topsy-turvy games we've had in this World Series, it's nice to see pitchers assume finally total command, as they have done at least until this point today.
The 0-2 delivery is up and away.
That can bust at any time with either of these teams, as you have learned from the prior games.
Well, one thing about Pittsburgh, they know that if they know what they have to do, or they don't have to worry about coming back tomorrow.
Struck him out. Parker down on strikes for the second time. That's 4 strikeouts for Mike Flanagan.
He's throwing low, Mike is, to Parker today. Don't forget tonight, that big matchup, special edition of NFL football, Sunday night, the Rams against the Cowboys. Tomorrow night, the Jets, with the best running average in the NFL, the worst pass defense, going against the Vikes.
1-0 the count on Bill Robinson, hitting with 2 out and the bases empty in the bottom of the 4th inning. No score. 2-0.
The Giffer, the Dandaroo, and Sir Francis will be together. They'll have to make the trek from Dallas up to New York.
Straight back, 2-1.
I wish you folks could see Drysdale when a foul comes in this direction. Come on, get back in your seat.
2-1 pitch. Line to right center toward the gap. Ken Singleton moving over and misplays it. Singleton couldn't cut it off. And as a consequence, Robinson has a double. Looked like Kenny thought he might have a play on it initially, and then didn't gauge the bounce right. So it's a double for Bill Robinson, the second hit for the Pirates.
Al Flanagan gets a pitch up over the plate, and I think Kenny Singleton, the ball coming off of the bat into the opposite field, that ball's going to be slicing back. Kenny thought that he had a chance at it, but the ball just landed out in front of him. And then, of course, it's just a matter of running it down, and if we can hold him to a double right there, and now you've got the captain. And
once again, Stargell up. Keys time at bat. Runner in scoring position.
Stargell flied out his first trip. And Willie hits a bouncing ball to second. Dower has to wait for Murray to get there. And retires.
6 times with runners in scoring position. Stargell has failed to come through. That's why it's still 0-0. Back in a moment.
Willie was, you know, our leader without a doubt, and he was our silent leader. You know, Willie led by example. You know, I've seen him strike out 10, 12 times, and every time he struck out, he took his helmet off, set it in the helmet rack without making a sound. And all you had to do was to watch Willie to benefit from his leadership, because he was a true professional.
The best thing that I ever learned from Willie was when the game was over and he went and sat down on a stool in front of the locker and got ready to talk to the media on any given night, when you looked over there, you could not tell if he was 4 for 4 with 4 home runs or 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. He was the same person every time he came in there. And all of us drew that in. That was kind of the calm. As much chaotic stuff that went on before and after the games, that was the calm that existed during the games.
He was the man, if you had any problem on or off the field, if you got a problem and you couldn't settle yourself, hey, Pop, I need a little bit of advice. Bring it on, baby. And you would sit there and talk, and he would put his head down, playing cards or whatever, lean back, you know. If I was in your shoes, you know. And that's the way he would talk, and he had his voice would go down a little bit deeper than mine. And you get the explanation out, but he was a leader. That's why we called him Pops.
The Pittsburgh Pirates say thank you to all those serving others serving on the front lines so that we can all stay home.
Hi, it's Jan from Toyota, working from home, like many of you. When you need us, Toyota's here to help.
Here in Pennsylvania, local Toyota dealers are focused on their associates and customers. Most remain open for your service needs, with enhanced efforts for cleaning and social distancing, and pickup and delivery service is available at some dealers. Feel free to also shop our inventory from the comfort of your home. We expect to be open for sales soon.
We're here for you now and in all the better days ahead. Toyota.
At Point Park University in the heart of downtown Pittsburgh, our towers are made with steel, not ivory. They're powered by innovation, intelligence, and effort. We understand there's no substitute for real-world experience and career-building connections. Our curriculum engages students with distinctive experiential learning opportunities. Point Park's pioneering co-op program empowers qualified students to work in full-time paid positions with our corporate partners while earning college credits. Career ready, that's the point. Point Park University.
The Pirates, even though they up until that point had won just one World Series, it might be argued, was maybe the most successful team in the National League. They had been in the playoffs back in the day when the playoffs weren't as expanded as they are now. They certainly were competitive every year. They had fought in 76, 77, and especially in 78 to make the playoffs. They fell short. 78, an epic battle with the Philadelphia Phillies, who was their arch rival at that time. But they'd been very competitive, a team that obviously had been in the playoffs in the early 70s, and a team that always contended for the playoffs virtually every year. On top of that, these Pirates were a Pittsburgh-type team.
I think a shot in the beer, we are family, blue-collar team, sort of went with the city. It felt good in the city. Our team felt like it fit in the city. We were embraced by the blue-collar part of Pittsburgh as well as the white-collar, but we really identify with the blue-collar. So I think that our team really fit with the image of Pittsburgh at the time.
We were one of those teams that never felt like we were out of a ball game, and we tried to reflect what the city of Pittsburgh was about, you know, hard-working, dedicated people. Off the field, we were a big family. You know, guys genuinely cared about each other, and, you know, just wasn't the season. You know, guys kept in touch in the off-season as well.
Well, we go to the fifth inning in Pittsburgh. Rapidly paced ball game, no score. 2 hits in the game, both belonging to the Pirates. Gary Renicky will be leading things off for the Orioles, and with more play-by-play, the big D, the twin D, double D, D squared. Take your pick. Don Drysdale.
All right, Al. Gary Renicky to lead it off, and there's Mrs. Renicky. And you know that the wives are all hoping that they can go back home tonight world champions. It'll be Renicky, DeCinces, and Dower in that order.
Now, this is a man Rooker must be very careful of. He's got home run power, hit 25 of them on the season. And the scouting reports on him, Rooker is familiar with, but... Oh, that's a National League strike by an American League umpire.
Well, you've got him working on the inside. You've got him working with that inside chest protector. And you're going to get lower strikes from those kind of umpires. And here you take another peek at it. Right there. 0-1 to Renicky. Change is low. The count 1-1. Renicky, he's a pull hitter. We mentioned before that during the course of the year that he has hit home runs. He hits them in bunches.
Despite the scouting reports that Rooker is closely studied, Renicky is still lesser known tonight.
Up the alley, Moreno's got to hurry, and he can't get it, has to play it off the wall. Renicky on his way for 2, and he'll make it with a double. Now that is the first hit as you look at Mrs. Renicky. Yeah, she's happy. Gary standing at second base. Now that is the first Baltimore hit of the afternoon. A leadoff single, check that, a leadoff double by Renicky standing at second base, and now you've got DeCinces And here's where execution comes in. The Sensei should be trying to move that ball to the right side.
Now I'm convinced after Howard just said what he did that this is tape delay.
Howard talking about Renicky will get the hit. And he sure did that. He got the double up the alley, standing at second base. The Sensei stands in. He struck out his first time at bat. 1 ball and no strikes.
Again, the scores. Miami rebounding after 2 losses, 17-7 over tough Buffalo. The Bengals with their first victory, crushing injury-riddled Pittsburgh. Then, of course, what a beauty that pitch was. New England giving it to the Chicago Bears. Philadelphia giving it to the Cardinals, coming from behind to do it. Tell you, those Eagles are amazing.
A ball and a strike to DeCinces. With Renicky at second, nobody out. Line drive. Garner can get it. Base hit right field. Parker will come to the plate. It'll be cut off by Stargell, and Baltimore has runners at first and third with nobody out. Garner went as high as he could go.
Bill tried to time his jump perfectly on a little looper. It looked like at that point he might have a chance. But that's as high as he can possibly go. Just barely deflects it. And, of course, the runner at second, Renicky had to hold and then be held at third.
Well, runners at the corners with Renicky at third and DeCinces at first. The first scoring threat for Baltimore. Nobody out. And all of a sudden, they might get some action down in the bullpen. You see Nicosia pointing out the infield and up the middle with Garner and Foley. They set for 2. Madlock a few steps behind the bag at third with Stargell holding DeCinces at first. The outfield all straight away. Dower popped to the first baseman Stargell his first time at bat. 0 for 1. 1 ball and no strikes to count.
There's the sly old fox.
Patiently waiting.
Wry little twinkle in the eye. Sometimes looks like a leprechaun.
Runner goes, and it's fouled away. Now Weaver playing hit and run with Dower and DeCinces. Well, there is tomorrow night's, or I should say Tuesday night's starting pitcher. If they should go that far, he was scheduled right-hander Bert Blyleven, but Chuck Tanner knows that if he doesn't win today, you forget Tuesday night. It's all over. 1-1 the count to Dower. 2-1. Renicky at third with DeCinces at first. Renicky led off with a double here in the 5th, and DeCinces a little looping line drive over the glove of the second baseman Phil Garner. Nobody out, no score. And keep DeCinces close. Runner goes again. Garner underhands to Foley. Back to Stargell. Double play. Renicky scores. Baltimore leads it 1-0.
Well, Dower with the infield at double play depth. He knows the ground ball is going to score a run, and Garner is able to get there. He was moving toward second. And over to Foley in time for the force and back on to Stargell for the double play. But interestingly enough, the only run in the game on the double play as we take a look again, coming in hard at second base, DeCinces to take out Foley, but he still gets a strong throw over to Stargell. But it's 1-0 Baltimore.
And the catcher Rick Dempsey stands in. Fastball away. 1-0 the count.
Key point is they got the run. They continue to make their hits count, even though the hits have been fewer than the number of Pirate hits.
1 ball, 1 strike to Dempsey. He bounced to third his first time at bat, 0 for 1. Chuck Tanner, you've got to feel for Chuck. 2 balls and a strike. You might have tuned in late. This is Tanner, Chuck's mother, passing away this morning. His ball club down 3 games to 1. There's the breaking pitch for the strike, and the count 2-2.
You could see the distraction all over the clubhouse, the dugout. There's Kent, who worked again last night and gave up those hits to Lowenstein and Crowley.
A full count to Dempsey. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, a run in for Baltimore. They lead it 1-0. We're in the top half of the 5th inning. Hard base hit left field.
So that double play Dower hit into looms very large now. Even so, Dempsey getting on is a boon for the Birds because they get Flanagan out of the way and can begin the next inning with Garcia.
Now here is Mike Flanagan, and that's exactly right. You love to have that pitcher come up and lead off the inning if you possibly can. There's Mrs. Flanagan.
That's the young lady you met in the up close and personal in the pregame show.
Breaking pitch is low to Flanagan. He flied to center his first time at bat. Mike is 0 for 1. He was 0 for 4 opening night, but we said he swings the bat pretty good. 2-0 the count. In the inning, the leadoff double by Renicky. The little looping line drive, base hit to right by DeCinces, put runners at first and third. Dower hit into the, there's Blyleven in the bullpen. Dower hit into the double play with a run scoring, and that's where we stand. 2 balls and a strike. Bert Blyleven scheduled to start on Tuesday night if there is a Tuesday night, but he's going now. 2-2 the count.
Say one thing for Mike, he means business up there. He fancies himself a hitter.
He turns it loose. Now we saw Scott McGregor too. He's a pretty good looking hitting pitcher. And the count goes full at 3-2. And the full count, runner at first. Dempsey will be going with the pitch. Stargell will move in and play in behind. Harvey Haddix, Chuck Tanner. Runner goes, foul away. Haddix, of course, the pitching coach for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Giants winning their second of 7. Tampa Bay losing their second of 7. Washington beating Cleveland. And what a job Bobby Beathard has done for the Redskins. In putting that team together, they have won 5 of 7.
Runner goes, pitch just outside, and Rooker thought he had him struck out, and so did Nicosia. Now Flanagan walked.
Last thing in the world you want to do. Runner now in scoring position.
There you take another look at it. Boy, that's a close pitch.
It really was. But in the meantime, Garcia, clearly a hot hitter. 6 RBIs in the series. 6 for 12 in the series. Coming to the plate. Rooker, his first inning of trouble. He had not allowed a hit until this, the 5th inning.
Kiko 0 for 2 this afternoon. 1-0 the count. Outside and the count 2-0. Well, all of a sudden home plate starting to bounce around a little bit on Jim Rooker. You saw Chuck Tanner. He is taking the cap off, and that means a signal to the bullpen. Is he ready? Bounce to Foley. He'll underhand to Garner, and the side is retired. But Baltimore comes up with a run in the 5th inning. And after 4.5, it's now Baltimore 1 and Pittsburgh nothing.
Chuck Tanner believed that the players would win the games. He wouldn't. And he'd make moves, but he realized that the players would be the one to execute. he gave players, and especially this team, a lot of latitude in the clubhouse. I mean, they carried on, and he really didn't care as long as it was within boundaries, as long as they performed. He believed that there was enough internal leadership that whatever needed to be done would be done by the players.
Chuck Tanner always have it that in his heart that he's gonna win, and they want, number one, he tried to understand every player to see what he can do, and then he used to in the proper man. He was a great manager. It was smart. He was genius to use the way he used us.
The 1979 Pirate Club was a very veteran-laden club. There weren't many rookies on it with the exception of Don Robinson. And Chuck treated us exactly the way we needed to be treated. He gave us all the freedom in the world to go out and just do what we do. He trusted us, to get done what we needed to get done. He trusted us to take care of ourselves, to be ready to get done what we needed to get done. And he treated us like men.
Chuck was a great guy, the best manager I ever played for, because it wasn't all about wins and losses with Chuck. It was about players and people and personality and relationships. He would be one of those guys where you're sitting at home during Christmas and all of a sudden the phone rang and it's Chuck on there wishing you a happy holiday. And that just shows you the makeup of the man. He was a lot like Stargell. He was a universal personality, and Stargell was as well.
A message for children. It's hard to be stuck at home right now, but we want to say thank you because you're being a big helper. When you stay home, you're protecting other people from getting sick. By calling someone you love who's stuck inside, you're giving them a smile, and they need it. When you wash your hands, for like the 100th time today, you're keeping your family safe. And by being brave, you're helping us all be brave. We know it's not easy, but helping will make everything go back to normal again as soon as possible. You're part of a big family of helpers around the world, and you're making a big difference. Find ways to help children feel safe at unicefusa.org/COVID-19. That's unicefusa.org/COVID-19.
Bill Madlock, here's a guy we acquire halfway through the season. Of course, he goes and plays third base on a regular basis, which moved Phil Garner to second base. But here's a guy who had 3 batting titles at the time, was going to win a couple more. Guess what? He hit 6th in our lineup. And why did he hit 6th? Well, number one, Parker was hitting 3rd, Robinson was hitting 4th, Stargell was hitting 5th. There wasn't a whole lot of room in there in the middle. Plus, as a 6-hitter, what people forget about Bill Madlock was not only was he a good hitter, he could run a little bit.
Dog. Bill Madlock, call him Dog, because he was a dog. He was a hard, hit hard, played hard, ran hard, and even that day took that glove and hit the umpire in the nose was hard. But
being Mad Dog, you haven't seen him take a guy out at second base. I mean, he was fierce, and he was like low and close to the ground and had outstanding speed. And it was hard for a second baseman or a shortstop to make that play with confidence because Bill would take him out in left field.
Well, Bill Madlock to lead it off, and of course Madlock coming to Pittsburgh from the San Francisco Giants. Great trade, and Howard talked to him prior to the game.
Bill, you seem reborn as a member of the Bucks. So different from when you were in San Francisco. What went wrong there?
Well, I think out in San Francisco and the other teams I played for, they try to mold you into being
a Giant or a Cub. With a team like the Pirates, you can be yourself. You can enjoy yourself. You can go out and have fun. They enjoy themselves even when they're losing. I guess, like I said before, what I like about this team is not how they react when they win, it's how they react when they lose. And I think I have learned a lot from that, because it's easy to jump up and down when you win, but when you lose, they come in and act the same way, just like got to get tomorrow. They don't put any pressure on no one. I think that's one main thing I like about the Pirates.
Now Bill Madlock to lead it off, followed by Nicosia and Garner.
And he told the exact truth. That team, what a magnificent view. That is the inner city.
As if they set up the middle. So Madlock is 2 for 2, and the Bucks are trying to come back. They've got to win today, or there's no tomorrow.
Here's a beautiful hitter, a simply beautiful hitter. That short, straight swing. Seems to be a hitter without a real weakness.
Two-time National League batting champion with the Chicago Cubs.
I just wonder if the guaranteed contracts today take away a little bit about that, worrying about if you lose or not. Now, runner at first, nobody out. Nicosia stands in. He flied to left his first time at bat.
He was totally right. That's the way the Bucks are as a team, and it gives you kind of glow to see it. But today, of course, the Bucks openly distracted over the loss of their manager's wife. It's Chuck Tanner, the man who's handled so many men so well, who is responsible for Matlock's feeling about that team.
Well, Nicosia's had his talk with third base coach Joe Lynette, and we'll see how Chuck Tanner wants to play right here. They got action in the bullpen, and look out, and they just missing.
Flanagan with that hesitation, and Madlock almost got caught leaning the other way. Back on a very close play.
Really close. I think inadvertently I said Chuck's wife was his mother, of course. It hangs heavy in that dugout.
Now Flanagan with a good move. He's worked on that. A few years ago, he did not have a good move at all to first base. As a matter of fact, he classified it as just outright poor. But he's got a good one now. He'll come up and he'll hesitate, and that makes it a little tough on runners over there if you want to try and get that good jump. If you want to try and cheat a little bit, why, he'll catch you. He can come up and hesitate and hold. Well, it's been the case of Baltimore with the timely base hits. Pittsburgh, who has out-hit Baltimore in the series, they just have not been able to get the timely base hit. 1-0 the count. Baltimore on top, 1-0. We're in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Both clubs with 3 hits apiece. Loop foul out of play. The count 1-1.
You got one of the key points when you keep emphasizing the Bucks' failure to hit in the clutch. They're hitting over 300, 329 for the series coming into this game. Only twice in World Series history has a team batted 300 and still lost the series. The Brooklyn Dodgers in '53 to the Yankees, and the Yankees hit 338 but lost to these very Bucks in 1960.
Well, they move him back again. What Flanagan has done after that first move over there when they just about picked him off, they've kept him close, and there's a strike in the count 1-2 to Nicosia. There's another look at it. Off-speed curveball right there.
Beautiful pitch.
This young man is really quite a pitcher. Good fastball. He'll throw that slow curve in the hard breaking pitch, and there he holds and goes to first again.
Now Nicosia, who hit 288 on the year with limited duty, is a hitter who'll fool you. He's shown us that he is a real good low ball hitter with good power.
There's the heartbreaking pitch. He tried to nip that inside corner and miss in the count 2-2. Two balls, two strikes, nobody out. The tying run at first base, Bill Madlock, 1-0 Baltimore, bottom of the 5th. Fouls it away. The count remains 2-2.
Now you saw Mike. The last two pitches, he got the ball up. They're learning. Don't forget tonight on ABC, Out of the Blue, a new kind of family. Extraordinary. Robin Williams, Mork and Mindy, the Associates, starting at 7 Eastern, 6 Central.
Mike just wants Madlock to know that he's certainly aware that he's over there. Good change.
What a pitch, and down. Did you see, Dunn? Mixing them up.
There's another look at it, Al.
Well, Flanagan, he's that type of pitcher. You can't really go up there looking for off-speed stuff. It's very difficult. I know very few hitters who've ever said, I can go to the plate and expect an off-speed pitch. It's the other way around. You got to go up thinking hard stuff. And he's thrown off again. So that's 5 strikeouts now for Flanagan.
Here's the little pepper pot, and Lee Lacy, pinch hitter extraordinaire, on deck.
And Phil Garner to stand in. He tried to push a bunt by Flanagan his first time at bat, and Flanagan threw him out. There's Lacy in the on-deck circle, so Tanner going to the bullpen early.
Lee, as I've suggested in earlier games, hit 5 pinch hit home runs for the Dodgers in a given year. The all-time record established by Johnny Frederick of the Brooklyn Dodgers back in the late 20s with 6.
Hit well left field, but it appears to be playable. Ayala to the warning track to make the catch, and Madlock has to go back.
What a little pepper pot that Garner is, though. He's had a difficult series in the field, but it hasn't affected his hitting at all.
This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Here's Lacy. Well, you've got to say Rooker did his job. A surprise starter and gives up a run on 3 hits. Blyleven will come on to take over the pitching chores. There's Bird down in the bullpen for Pittsburgh. We mentioned before he was going to be the scheduled starter on Tuesday night. But Chuck Tanner knows that if they don't win today, there will be no Tuesday night. Baltimore. That's what they would like to do. But so far, Baltimore on top 3 games to 1, and Lacy fouls it down the left field line. Flanagan's got a few pitches up. He got the pitch up to Garner that sent Ayala to the warning track. He got that pitch up to Lacy. That's Madlock at first with Murray holding.
It's the bottom of the 5th. It is 1-0 Baltimore. And accumulating tension begins to present itself. You can feel it in the arena.
Good change in the count 0-2.
With Rooker out, as you look at the number of pitches he threw inning by inning, he never threw more than 16 in any inning, except the 5th when he threw 26. That's when he gave up the run.
Hit to the hole. DeCinces, his throw is no throw.
The turf made that a hit. Nothing but the turf. However, he may have been mistaken in cutting it off. He poached, as they say in tennis.
Absolutely, as it goes to the hole. Garcia, if he comes up with a play, might have a force out at second base. And Kiko looks like he's ready. He's in position to pick it up and throw over to second. But all of a sudden, DeCinces is right there.
And Doug just can't get his footing as he goes down, and now
it's a base hit, but one must adjudge that DeCinces made A mental mistake.
Well, it would have been an easy play for Garcia. As Al said, he was right there. All he's got to do is catch it, go the short way. It would have been a close play at second base. The ball was not hit that hard. Here's Omar Marino, and there's Mrs. Marino.
Mrs. Marino.
Curveball for the strike.
Time and again, Omar has been up in tough situations. There she is with the whistle.
Moreno 0 for 2 today, has struck out and popped to short. Oh, and 2 the count. I'll tell you one thing, Moreno is going to go home, and he's going to go to bed all winter looking at left-handers curveballs off of this Baltimore staff. There's a stat right there.
That tells the story.
That's it.
He and Willie Stargell are the ones who have the great Willie. Honest reporting, Willie too.
Struck him out. The other side retired, and after 5, it's still 1-0 Baltimore, and we'll be back with more baseball after this word from our local station.
These Pirates were a Pittsburgh-type team. They were known by the moniker the Lumber Company. And while they had some good pitching, they just bashed their way to victory. I mean, they had one of the most fearsome lineups that Major League Baseball had seen in such a long time. Willie Stargell, Dave Parker, Bill Madlock, Richie Zisk, Al Oliver, Omar Marino. I mean, they would just bludgeon you to death. And that really appealed to Pittsburghers. They were a big team physically. You had big guys like Parker, who was 6'5", and Stargell was a big man. That also appealed to the people of Pittsburgh. They had these bold uniforms. Some hated them. I kind of liked them. And I had people on other teams tell me that the Pirates actually, as much as you could physically intimidate in baseball, the Pirates, because of their size and their attitude, intimidated some other teams.
There are many talented individuals and entrepreneurs who develop an enterprise with initiative, unbridled enthusiasm, and creativity. When it comes to financial planning and investments, not so much so. That's where the investment advice from Fort Pitt Capital Group can help. Our personalized solutions and heartfelt interest in helping our clients achieve financial success is our passion. The result, peace of mind. Fort Pitt Capital Group, your future is our focus.
I need new struts for my 2010 Chevy. Let me see struts by AC Delco, KYB, and any under $50.
We might be able to get some struts from the warehouse.
Why watch the counterman tap on his computer and hope he chooses the right part? Go to rockauto.com. Auto and body parts from hundreds of manufacturers. Choose the brands, prices, and features you want. Auto parts at the lowest price. Conveniently delivered to your home or business.
All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto.
Rooker pitches as good as Jim Rooker has ever pitched in his life. That effort right there, that 5-inning effort to keep the team in the ball game. Who does he put in to finish Game 5 after Rooker goes 4 innings? Bert Blyleven, one of our starting pitchers, now in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Blyleven with that good spotted fastball and the best curveball in baseball. Blyleven was awesome.
As we go to the Baltimore 6th inning, Bert Blyleven, there's some more scores. Howard?
San Diego having a tough go of it in the first half at least with Seattle. Oakland destroying Atlanta. The Oakland club beginning to come on. And Detroit leading Green Bay 9-7 in the second. And tonight it'll be the Rams against the Cowboys right here on ABC. Tomorrow night the Vikes against the Jets. Detroit 9, Green Bay 7. It was a 9-7 Green Bay victory over Detroit. As you look at Bert Blyleven, And there is Mrs. Blyleven. There really are a bevy of lovely ladies married to these fellows. It was a 9-7 Green Bay victory over Detroit for you football aficionados. That was the fulcrum, the foundation for the great football book by the late Vincent T. Lombardi, Run to Daylight. Her Battley interception turning the game for the Pack.
So it'll be Al Bumbry. He will come on and he will take over for Benny Ayala. And you can insert him in that second spot. And he undoubtedly will go into center field.
Quite a difference, eh? Well, it's my pleasure and privilege to tell all of you that Bob Uecker is here in the ballpark today, but not masked, wearing no fictitious, or presuming to be no fictitious figure. The great catcher of the past, probably the best 190 hitting catcher in the history of baseball.
Now Blyleven comes on. Burt worked 6 innings in game 2, allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned. He had no decision. Bumbry leading it off. Pop to shallow left center, and there is Robinson moving over. That is out number 1. Now we go to Ken Singleton. Singleton is flying to center, and he was caught looking. Kenny 0 for 2. Game moving along and running out of time. It is Baltimore 1, Pittsburgh nothing, in a do-or-die game for the Pirates.
That's why there is the tension hanging heavy in this ballpark now. They know there are only a matter of innings, and yet there is only 1 run to be obtained by the Pirates to be right back.
1 ball, no strikes.
Birds themselves desperate for an insurance run, with reliance upon their ace, 23-game winner Mike Flanagan.
2 balls and no strikes. Well, once again, you see Pittsburgh out hitting Baltimore, but Pittsburgh just cannot come up with that key base hit. Baltimore can. It's a 2-hopper hit to Garner, and that is out number 2. Here's Eddie Murray. He is fly to right, and he popped to Garner at second base. 0 for 2.
Eddie Murray had a big night against Burt Blyleven. A homer, a double, and a single. Lashed that homer into the middle deck at Memorial Stadium. Remember, Dunn?
I do. He got a change. It was up over the plate. Burt just didn't take too much off of it. There's where we'll be, if necessary, on Tuesday night. Game 6 from Baltimore, 8 o'clock Eastern, on Wednesday the same time, if necessary, in Game 7. 1-0 the count. One to nothing Baltimore. We're in the top of the 6th. Two 2-0 the count. Pitch was not that close. Eddie just spinning out of there and losing the cap and batting helmet.
This is a strong fellow, this Eddie Murray. As Don said, the pitch was not that close. Eddie was hanging in there waiting to see if it would tail off.
Tailed off. 2-0. There's the strike, and the count goes to 2-1.
You don't want to let one like that go by, Mr. Drysdale.
Pretty good pitch as you look at manager Earl Weaver. And I think Eddie Murray would like to say, let me have one more of those, please. Blyleven starting before Murray was ready, and Eddie calling time. 2 balls and a strike, 2 outs. We're in the top of the 6th. The Orioles lead it 1-0. 2-2 the count. I'll tell you, it almost have bet your house and lot that Pittsburgh would not get swept 3 games here at Three River Stadium.
Well, they haven't been swept yet.
Next pitch is hit to the hole right there. Garner goes right under his glove, and Parker will make the play and get it back in. I think Garner just got his feet crossed up.
Shaking his head.
There you see Phil moving over.
There he is as Garner goes to his left. It looks like he gets there in time, and let's see if he does get his feet crossed up, as Don just referred to. As you can see, the ball went underneath his glove, just skidded on him.
Didn't get his glove down.
That he might have got on the wrong foot.
What are the three official scorers doing?
They have not made a statement as yet.
We are not dealing with a problem in nuclear physics.
This is Renicky. There's a curveball and a good one for a strike. And they give him an error. Renicky led off the 5th inning with a double off of the starter Jim Rooker. Moved to third on a base hit to right and scored on a double play. There's a good curveball. 0-2 the count. Blyleven showing an excellent curveball. There's a stat that's a little surprising right there. Since 1972, his first relief appearance. Curveball swung on Wickley and missed.
What a curveball.
So Baltimore is gone in the 6th inning as you look at it again. And after 5 1/2, it is Baltimore 1 and Pittsburgh nothing.
I think the fact that they responded to adversity when they were struggling along for a fair portion of the season at 500, and everybody expected more. Remember, they lost out to the Phillies on the next to last day of the season. So they came into 1979, people thought this is a legitimate contender to win the Eastern Division. It's not some team that was constructed in the offseason. The component parts were back there once again. The mere fact that they were able to rebound and recover from not a good start, and certainly the ultimate rebound was being down 3-1 to a team with the pitching staff that the Baltimore Orioles had, I don't think it bothered them a bit. Clearly, the team that scores first has an advantage, especially when they're playing at home. I wasn't in the dugout, but knowing this team and knowing these players as I did, I'm sure they just totally took it in stride, figuring somebody in this family will come through. They had all year. Why not now?
Swinging a deep fly ball to right, and Josh Bell has hit another one out of here.
And welcome to PNC Park.
Kevin Newman, his 3rd home run of the game, just won it. Raise the Jolly Roger.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Dad! Okay, here we go, throw it! Yeah.
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Nice.
Tim Foley's style of hitting at that point in time, or actually in any point in the history of the game, could probably be considered just very unconventional. You know, he chokes up about this far on the bat. I think he almost has more bat below his hands than he does above it. And all he's doing is just poking the ball around. And, you know, he'll move the ball around. He'll just chop the ball, put it in play. But the best part about it wasn't how he held the bat, wasn't how he poked the ball around. The best part about it was Tim Foley was confident enough in himself to be able to make contact that he was willing to take pitches to allow Omar Moreno to find the right one to run on.
I remember Chuck Tanner saying about Foley, he does the ordinary things extraordinarily. That's what Tanner wanted from a shortstop. He wanted him to make the routine plays routinely well. And Foley certainly wasn't splashy. He wasn't a great shortstop, but he was very solid.
And Tim Foley, a fighter. Whatever you said, Tim, he said, oh, I know a better way. Well, you can't ask Chuck. One day, him and Chuck Tanner got into it in spring training because Chuck wanted to do it this way, and Tim Foley said, no, we got to do it this way. And Chuck crossed his arms, and the veins come out his neck here, and he told Tim Foley a couple of things I can't say on his camera here. Then Foley kind of put his tail between his legs and went back to shortstop and kept his mouth quiet for the rest of the spring training. But Tim Foley is another guy who would do anything he could to help the team win. He wasn't a home run hitter. He hit the ball to right. He would choke off with the bat and do whatever he did. And then guys would slide into base. He'd put his knee down to stop from sliding in, stuff like this here. He's the type of guy, well, when he was with Montreal, we hated him because that's what he did. When he was on our side, it's okay.
Gary Renicky will move over to left field from his starting center field position, and Al Bumbry, who came on to pinch hit, he stays in the game and he's in center field. Earl Weaver has his best defensive outfield out there right now as they try to go to some leather here over the last 4 innings.
This is Foley and the baby.
Foley to lead it off. Low, ball 1. Tim is flying to center, and he has bounced to third.
We flip for Foley.
Low, ball 2. 2-0.
That's all it takes. Get these fans aroused. That's right there, that little baby. That's why Tim was so thrilled to get the new 5-year contract.
There's the strike, and the count goes to 2-1. It'll be Foley, Parker, and Robinson.
It's something to begin the season with the Mets and to wind up playing for the World Championship.
That's the first ball 3 count that Flanagan has had on any hitter this afternoon. That shows you about what Mr. Flanagan is made of.
There's a growing feeling in this ballpark now.
The 3-1 pitch. He walks him. Flanagan not too happy with that call, nor was Dempsey.
Well, they've got themselves an American League umpire there. They don't have a lot to complain about. But Dave Parker, Bill Robinson, and Willie Stargell. Sure did look like a strike, I must say.
Here's Dave Parker, has struck out twice against Flanagan. Here's where the Bucks are hoping that they can get back to the form of Mr. Parker in Game 1 when he had 4 hits off of Flanagan. Baltimore on top 1-0. We're in the bottom of the 6th, and time running out on the Bucks.
You got their lineup done. 4 innings to get 1 run? No. Plenty of time.
There's plenty of time. There's a man right there that can also equalize anything that you might want to do in a hurry. Mike Flanagan.
But he's human.
Oh, yeah. Misses inside. There's the Baltimore bullpen. Stoddard on the left, and Tippy Martinez over on the right, the left-hander. Stoddard, big game yesterday. And Baltimore's also big come from behind win. Base hit center field.
See what I mean?
Foley to second, and he'll hold right there as Bumbry gets on it in a hurry.
You can get Parker only so often. And now a tough hitter. Bill Robinson with 24 homers on the season, who has already clipped Flanagan for that double to right center.
Well, there's nobody out. Robinson stands in 1 for 2. You look at Parker again.
And Parker, after striking out twice, delivering the blow here into center field. So Parker with 4 hits off Flanagan in game 1. Mike had his number the first 2 times up today. And now Robinson coming up first and second.
Now Robinson has bounced to third. He doubled in the 4th. He was left stranded at second base, and here you put yourself in a position. If you're Chuck Tanner, runners at first and second, you're down a run, you're in the 6th. Do you bunt with Robinson? Do you let him hit? We'll see how they want to go. They're going to bunt, and it's out in front of the plate, and a good one. Flanagan has but 1 play, and that's to Murray at first. The runners move up for Stargell.
Chuck Tanner made the right play, the only play.
Yes, sir.
Got to tie this game. He's at home. You play to tie. You don't play around. And once again, Willie Stargell in a key situation. Runners on second and third.
And Earl Weaver to the mound, Howard.
One Hawkins back to the late Frankie Frisch and his classic maxim, oh, those bases on balls.
Oh, you hang around this game and you work games every day of the week throughout the course of the year, and it's amazing how many base on balls come back to score. Absolutely staggering.
Well, what do you think he told him, Al?
I don't know, but whatever Weaver says, whenever he goes out, he knows exactly what's on his mind. You'll see some managers go out there, say a few words, maybe counsel with a couple of other players, but Earl goes out every single time and says, look, this is the way it is. Everybody listens. Away he goes back to the dugout.
Well, you got a great hitter up next in Bill Madlock. 2 for 2 today, 7 for 16 on the series. Got a left-hander pitcher.
Here's Stargell. Misses a one.
Do you pitch carefully to him? Give him nothing to hit. Put him on. Hope for the double play. Flanagan should walk him. Do you come in with a right-handed reliever?
Hit hard. Well, the thing here, Stargell, if he just makes contact to any part of the infield, Pittsburgh is going to pick up a run outside of something hit hard to DeCinces at third. He's the short man.
Well, you saw Willie go for the golf ball, hitting the low pitch again.
A ball and a strike to Stargell. 1 out, 2 on. 1-0 Baltimore. We're in the bottom half of the 6th. Misses low. 2-1.
Willie can atone for a lot with a base hit here. All else will be forgotten.
Bunbury deep in the alley right center. Kiko Garcia is deep and behind the line at his shortstop position. Dower towards the hole between first and second. Hit well. It will score the run. There's Bunbury. Runner's tag. Bunbury with the catch. Here comes Foley. Parker to third. It's a tie game at 1.
No quit in the Bucks. No quit. Look at it again.
Boy, Stargell stayed on that curveball nice.
Now they scratch and claw.
Bunbury has no play on Foley. He's going to Parker at third, but no play to get the big man there. So now the go-ahead run 90 feet away. Bill Madlock already 2 for 2. And the Buck fans come alive as they have tied it at 1. 1-0 the count.
And this guy can kill you.
And the base on balls has come back to tie the game. The only man that Flanagan went to a 3-ball count on, he eventually walked him. That was Tim Foley. To center field, that's a base hit. Here comes Parker. It's 2-1 Pittsburgh.
Oh, again, he comes through. He is now 8 out of 17 on the series, and with the Bucks to come on to win it, he'll be getting consideration despite some fielding lapses as the MVP. Oh, is he tough?
Bill Madlock, he had already solved Flanagan twice today with a couple of hits. Picks up his 3rd of the day. Madlock, and we said it before, the depth of the Pirate lineup, how they can hit. Best illustrated by the fact the man's won a couple of batting titles, yet hit 6th in the order.
This is Nicosia. Madlock at first, hit to the third baseman DeCinces. The long throw, they got to hurry.
And they're getting. Oh, what a great scoop by Eddie Murray. And for that matter, a good play by DeCinces. Today we're getting a beautifully played ball game. Look at it again, Al.
Doug DeCinces making about as long a throw as you'll ever see a third baseman make, not only in foul territory, but well back of the bag. And the great scoop at first.
So the Bucks score 2, and through 6, it's 2-1 Pittsburgh.
We were obviously known for our offense. The Pirates teams of the 70s were always known for their offense. In the early 70s, it was the Lumber Company. Later on in the late 70s, because we added an Omar Marino to the mix, it was Lumber and Lightning. And, you know, we were very much known as an offensive club, and we were. I mean, we could strike just about any way that was necessary during the course of the game. If we're up against a good guy, we could manufacture a run. If we got somebody that was a little softer, we could just blow the game wide open. That was the kind of team we had offensively.
Well, I tell you what, there was no weak links in our lineup. Even when it comes to pitching, maybe some of our pitchers couldn't hit it like Blylev and somebody, but you had a Dinah Robinson, Kenny could swing the bat, a Bibb could swing the bat. I mean, we all could do it, you know. And but the hitting was a part of the game. We always took pride in what we did. Bunting, swinging the bat, we did it. And but as far as, like you said, a weak lineup, no. We had Obar, I mean, could fly. We had like on the bench, we had Sanguin, Easy, Mike Easler, John Milner, Stephen Kosher, Eddie out, all depending who was catching.
Pittsburgh had become so used to watching the Pittsburgh Pirates just bludgeon people to death with their bats.
The Pittsburgh Pirates say thank you to all those serving others and serving on the front lines so that we can all stay home.
In a world ravaged by tiny, insignificant, minuscule fish sandwiches, there is only one incredible, enormous, like it's really big, fish sandwich. The whale of a cod. Eaton Park's whale of a cod fish sandwich. Yeah, it's big. Want to take it with you? Try Eaton Park's Fish Fry to Go. 2 whale of a cod sandwiches, chips, plus soup or coleslaw for only $19.99.
Domino's has contactless delivery, so you can safely get pizza even while you stay indoors.
Just take those old records off the shelf. I sit and listen to them by myself. Today's music ain't got the same soul.
Next time you get 2 or more medium 2-topping pizzas for $5.99 each, choose contactless delivery from Domino's.
Phil Garner was the blue-collar attitude of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that's why the people in Pittsburgh loved him so much. Every day, he was the dirtiest player on the field. He would dive. He would, he'd charge somebody. He would anything to win the game.
One day, he got so mad that he didn't get a hit. You know, he was going down into the runway to the clubhouse, and there's an iron bar, which is a handrail. So Gar was mad because he had popped up with the bases loaded, and he hit that rail, and that bat came back and he caused about 2 or 3 stitches right here, and kind of leaned back and said, "Gar, you lost another one."
Phil Garner was quiet, but he was the quiet killer. He was ready to get you. He was ready to play every day, and he was completely ready to go in the World Series.
Phil, he was like a clubhouse lawyer. You know, he always had things going, and I felt that I was the only guy that could put him in check. I once told him, I said, you know, you're lucky to be here because nobody even knew who you were until you were standing behind me and they took a picture of me and said, "Hey, who is that little guy?" And, you know, me and Phil had that kind of relationship. We would go at each other before the game. But in the process of us going at each other, it kind of loosened up the team and loosened up the starting pitcher for that day. And we just carried that on. It was a tradition for men infield to be at each other's throats.
From our helicopter, looking down into Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, where the Pittsburgh Pirates came up with 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning, trying to stay alive. First game in Baltimore, won by the Orioles, and the Buccos evened it up in game 2. As one of yesterday's stars, Tim Stoddard.
Yesterday's hero.
Yep. Find out about him today. Stoddard on in relief in the bottom of the 7th inning. The 6'7", former basketball star at North Carolina State. Played on an NCAA champion Wolfpack team. Facing Garner, Blyleven, and Marino in the bottom of the 7th inning. 1-0. This is Phil Garner.
Well, she says, take it easy now, Phil. Don't be walking into any of those fastballs like that. That thing, Phil got to slap a little color back in his face.
Ooh.
He almost walked into a tailing fastball, and this big guy can turn it loose.
1 ball and 1 strike.
In yesterday's game, in the 3 innings that Stoddard worked, he got in a good workout. He threw 44 pitches. That's not bad.
Got his first hit in organized ball, drove in a run.
That's unbelievable. You think that isn't a storybook?
Incredible. You dream about that. 1-2. In the bullpen, the left-hander Tippy Martinez throwing back of Stoddard.
I'm not going to worry about the amount of time Stoddard worked yesterday. Look at the size of it.
I had to laugh after yesterday's game at the ending. You know how Dempsey, he gets so fired up, he'll go out and jump up on a pitcher. He jumped up, he just kind of went out and grabbed Stoddard. he couldn't lift him up at all.
Three and 2 on Garner. Flanagan gave up 2 runs, 6 hits in 6 innings of work. Walked only 1, and that came back to kill him. Struck out 6. Chopper. No play for Garcia. Phil Garner, an infield single to start the bottom of the 7th inning.
Well, here you may as well just pick it up, stick it in your pocket, and forget about it, because Garner, who runs well, Garcia made a fine barehanded, the only way that he'd ever have any chance whatsoever. Look at how far Garner was by the bat.
So now Blyleven comes up, presumably to punt. DeCinces will play in shallow at third. Murray wants to get together with Dower.
Well, everybody in the ballpark knows what Blyleven will be doing right here. The thing that you've got to think about on the artificial surface, when you go to punt, you've got to make sure, you've got to really practice a lot. You've got to really deaden that ball. Just to get a bat on it and push it somewhere, that doesn't mean a thing, because it gets to a charging infielder or back to the pitcher in a hurry.
There's Blyleven's wife.
Throw to first as Garner gets back.
Tell you, on this artificial turf, Al, I think of the old Casey Stengel axiom. Put your boy the ball.
Put your boy. Hit
Put
down
your
on
boy it. Hit it down.
That's just what Garner did when he got on first base.
That's right. You put your boy the ball, and the ball goes 12 feet in the air, and it never comes down. That's the way to use this artificial turf.
That's Harry Walker's theory of hitting.
That's right.
Swing away and butcher it down. Garner goes crawling back in.
Now, I mentioned yesterday about Stoddard throwing the 44 pitches in relief. Only 35 of those were strikes.
Hey, cut that ball over there well.
He does. That's something about this Baltimore staff. Boy, every one of them, they come right at you. They don't fool around. They don't nitty-pick.
Garner, a very sizable lead as Blyleven takes up hot ball 1. Interesting, Stoddard does have a good move, does a good job, which is interesting for a pitcher who is so big. You see a lot of fellows 6'6" and 6'7" who have a lot of problems.
Well, there's Miller going out to the mound, and he's going to probably tell Stoddard, now look it. Don't let him bother you over there to where all of a sudden you end up losing this guy at the plate. They're going to bunt, let him bunt, and we'll go about from there.
Repeats on the football scores. The stunning upset of the injury-riddled Steelers by Cincinnati 34-10. Philadelphia keeps its record with only 1 defeat. And, of course, the Giants crushing San Francisco. New Orleans destroying Tampa Bay. Washington over Cleveland 13-9. Tonight, the Rams against the Cowboys. Live from Dallas, Texas. 9 o'clock Eastern time. I'll make it Irving, Texas. Technically, Texas Stadium. Tony Dorsett and the gang against the Rams defense.
Blyleven gets it down, but Stoddard's going to go to second, and they get to fours. Well, you've got to be impressed with Stoddard, a man of that size, fielding his position that well, down off the mound in a hurry. Throwing to Garcia, they erase the lead man, and with 1 out, Blyleven's at first.
Well, the ball has to be bunted. You got to take it off. You see Blyleven getting his hands out there quite a ways, but here's Stoddard. He got off the mound very good. He wheeled, and right there, a perfect throw to Garcia.
That's what he used to do to David Thompson. Wing the ball in. He had more assists that way.
Here is Marino. Crowd really got on Omar after the 5th inning when he struck out with 2 men on. And the ever-present whistle of Mrs. Marino.
You know something? We may vote in the booth for her for the MVP.
She blows that whistle again. Stoddard's going to stop thinking the foul was called.
When you stop to think of the way Garner butcher boyed the ball, remember Stoddard is 6'7". He got it over him.
2-0 the count.
Stoddard not too happy with that call.
Marino waiting in the box. Stoddard taking his time. Bucks ahead 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th with 1 out. 2-1. One out. The count, 2 balls and a strike on Marino. Hit foul off to the left and out of play, and the count 2-2.
And the one thing you get when you don't get that sacrifice down, and you got to have your pitcher at first base in Blyleven, the main thing, one of the things that it kind of clogs up the bases on anything that might transpire with this man standing here with Marino.
Soft looper foul. Outside third and a broken bat, so Omar will get a new piece of wood. In the bullpen for the Orioles now.
Stan the man unusual.
Bullpack.
Houston has defeated Baltimore on the margin 12. Denver is pouring it on Kansas City. Red Miller's team holding together, and New England has ripped Chicago. Green Bay has taken the lead over Detroit. Oakland is slugging Atlanta, and San Diego in a toughie holding on against Seattle.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Marino with Blyleven at first base. 1 away. The 2-2 pitch. Grounded, and a great stop by Garcia. The force at second. What a play by Kiko.
Exactly what Don Drysdale was talking about. In a situation like this, the World Series at stake, isolated now on Garcia. You dive, you throw the body, you don't let that ball go through. And that's what you see right here. Now, look at that. And As circumstances would have it, he could easily execute the force play. A great play by Garcia that has the ripple effect of getting that man, Marino, on first base. Look for the attempted steal.
Well, Foley, he knows one thing. He's going to get some heat. They're not going to be moving around and fooling around with any off-speed pitches. There's too many of those for this big guy out there, and Marino at first base. And there's a case of clogging up the bases again, Al. If that sacrifice is down, you got runners at first and third.
Instead, 2 out. Marino at first base, a strike. Remember, the Pirates have not stolen a base in this series. Marino at 77 during the regular season.
Well, this is the time to go. Don't you agree, Don?
I got to try and make something happen right here.
They pitch out, nothing doing.
You know what Baltimore's thinking. The guy's got to go.
I'd pitch out again right here.
And Jackie Robinson would have come up and slugged him.
There's a thing, Stoddard. That's not a bad move. It's a good move. A man on first base that has good speed. Make him stop. Make him stop. Don't let him get that walking lead and go on you. Don't let him stay on his toes. Try and make him hold on his toes if he wants to. Pretty soon he's got to get a little tired and go back on his heel. That's when you pitch.
One and one. Stoddard. Good move to first base. Marino. Average size lead at the moment. Now stretching it out. And again he drives him back.
I tell you, Stoddard keeps his poise.
He's got a good move, too. It's quick, like you said, Al, for a big guy. The key to it doesn't really make any difference how big you are, honestly. It's how quick you can move your feet. That's the key to any pickoff.
That was your problem.
No, I didn't have that problem. Either have quick feet or a quick knee.
And again the move, and this time it gets by Murray, who picks up the carom and throws to second, and it's not in time.
Just when I said he kept his poise.
Well, here's a tough play for Eddie Murray. That throw down into the runner. And, boy, that is Death Valley. And actually, it hits Marino. Murray almost came up with a super play because he got on that ball in a hurry. A good, strong throw to Garcia. And Marino had to hustle to get down there safely.
The error to Stoddard. The first Oriole error of the day. And the 1-1 pitch to Foley is lined into right center field for a base hit and more as it'll roll all the way to the fence. Marino scores. That makes it 3-1. Foley is on his way to third. Dower will just eat it in the outfield, and it's 3-1 Bucks.
Now the folks are seeing their Bucks the way they've played all year. Foley again, the contact hitter. The guy who virtually never strikes out. The guy who uses the infield to get hits, and then he'll hit you with one like that. Perfectly placed. And look at those fans. And here comes Earl Weaver.
He's going to go to the left-hander right now. The outfield playing extremely shallow, and Foley couldn't have just taken a 2-iron and hit it out there any better than that. That ball is just over the glove of Dower. Now it's slicing away from Bunbury, and by the time they roll it through and pick it up off the wall, Marino scores easily, and Foley on at third with a triple.
Quite a World Series, ladies and gentlemen. Quite a World Series. Two evenly matched teams. As I said, clatching and strong. We'll be back. Well, they were still playing the old Camptown Races theme on radio this morning. The fans held together, and so apparently has the team. But between these two teams, this game far from over. The Cobra. Next to it, Foley's followers. Bill Mazeroski throwing out the first ball, reviving the memories of the home run he hit against Ralph Terry. The high fastball in the bottom of the ninth of the final game.
Parker swings and misses 0-1.
And they have visions of that all over again here in Pittsburgh. Singing "The Bucks Are Going All the Way" to the tune of Camptown Races. Parker, you see the sign in the upper deck, hit it here. He can, gets his pitch. But to hit a home run against this kid, it would be the first one since Aurelio Rodriguez hit one off him in May of '78. Since then, Martinez has not given up a home run, an incredible statistic.
Big run out there at third for the Pirates.
1-1 pitch to Parker. He'll get the run in with a drive into the gap in left center field. Foley scores to make it 4-1. And Parker will stop at second with a double.
So the Bucks have exploded. They are looking like the team that drove to the pennant. Earl Weaver has spoken his piece. I'm not a genius. If they produce my players, then I'm a genius. Here it is again.
He gets the pitch out over the plate, and he just goes right with it beautifully. That ball hit to the gap. No one had a chance whatsoever to catch a big run scoring. The score now 4-1.
Don't you love to see a hitter go with the pitch that way, Al? Remember the way Parker closed the season? Next to the last game, 5 for 5. Going with the pitch outside to left, hitting inside out.
Robinson takes inside, and that's part of the reason that Parker is no stranger to the batting title. A man that big, everybody thinks of him as a dead pull hitter. It's not the case with Dave. He uses the whole field. 2-0. Why fight location? If they're going to work you that way, go with it.
Sly Fox, he hasn't given up yet.
One hopper to DeCense on a broken bat bouncer. And that'll do it in the 7th. But the Pirates come up with 2 more runs, 3 hits, and they'll go to the 8th. It's 4-1 Pittsburgh. Back after this word from our local stations.
Dave Parker, there were a lot of people didn't like Dave Parker because he was brash, he was loud, he was hard to deal with at times, but never for us in the clubhouse. He was like the consummate professional player. You never had to worry about if Dave Parker had a little boo-boo, if he was going to make it out on the field or not. This is a guy who had played with a broken jaw. This was a guy who played with a face mask on his helmet so he could go out and play. You knew that every day that you went out there, as Willie used to say, when you went to war, that Dave Parker was going to be in your foxhole, and you'd like to have that there. This guy was, he was as competitive, and at least for that 2 or 3 year period in the late 70s, probably the best player in the entire game of baseball.
Wall to wall, treetop tall, 6'4". What do you say? 2 for 4, 3 for 4 for sure. And talking about hits, and he always kept the clubhouse alive. Him and Phil Garner.
Well, Parker and I became fast friends over my time in Pittsburgh, and I was sort of the little bitty mutt dog that would nip at the heels of the giant all the time, and so Dave was incredibly gifted as an athlete, but he was also gifted with his jibe. He had some talk, man, and he could come up with some of the greatest lines. When the leaves come brown, I'll be wearing my second batting crown. And he'd say, "Go check a bubblegum card, mother. Go check a bubblegum card." And he wanted you to go look at the back of the bubblegum card, look at all those good numbers he had on there. So every time I'd get on him, that's what he'd tell me. He'd say, "Well, when the leaves turn brown, I'll be wearing my second batting crown." And so you couldn't get the better of him. He was always quicker than anybody else, but. Dave was a great teammate in the sense that he wanted all his teams to play better. And Dave did what I consider one of the great subtleties in team sports. He created internal competition when he was on the team, he would, if he sensed you were weak in some way, he'd pick at you, he'd pick at you, he'd pick at you. And in doing so, it would make you stronger.
Pittsburghers know a thing or two about coming together. We cheer together. Look out for one another. We make this city whole. But right now, coronavirus is trying to change all that. So Allegheny Health Network is asking every Pittsburgher to join the Stay Home team. Stay inside so our doctors, nurses, first responders can focus on conquering this virus. Let's come together in a new way. Let's all join the Stay Home team today.
Us. It's what this country is made of. A helping hand, a shoulder to lean on. Different voices.
Hello.
One sacred bond. But right now, that bond is fraying. Where do we find common ground? How do we get back to us? The why fills the gaps and bridges our divides. Now, more than ever, the why needs your support. Because where there's a why, there's an us. For a better us, support your local why today.
Our uniforms, we had actually 3 sets. We had a solid black set, we had a solid yellow set, and we had a set that was stripes, pants and tops were stripes. And what we did is we interchanged tops and pants, meaning we had 9 different combinations.
Pittsburgh was definitely a trendsetter with those uniforms. Stovepipe hats, the multiple changes of uniform gave us a uniqueness that nobody else had in the league.
We didn't particularly like them a whole lot, but we did like, what they brought to us, which was, there was no doubt about it. We liked people noticing us, and that definitely caused them to notice us.
People would ask me about it. Hey, Buck, what do you think about them ugly yellow uniforms? I said, they're major league uniforms. So like I say, it's not the uniform that plays ball, it's the man inside of it.
Kind of pretty, isn't it?
Oh, what a sight. The sun going down. Three River Stadium. Make all the Pittsburgh jokes you want. I'll tell you, the shots we've had from overhead have been beautiful today.
No Pittsburgh jokes from this quarter. No Baltimore jokes either. My feelings are known.
We've had some great shots from that hill. I'll tell you, in this whole series, we've had some great shots from the gun.
Well, it's altogether possible that the Twin D will be having dinner tonight at Danny's, at Pimlico Hotel, or any restaurant close to where we stay in Baltimore. But, Al, unfortunately, I want to tell you right here and now, we've enjoyed having you so much, man. You're just a professional.
I appreciate that, and I know I'll be getting a suntan out in California tomorrow thinking about it. See what your thermals.
And leading up to the fact that there's game number 6, as we look at a call ball to start the inning from Bly Levin to Kiko Garcia. I'm referring to the fact that Keith Jackson will be back from football and with us Tuesday night.
1-1 the count on Garcia. 92-mile-an-hour fastball from Bly Levin.
And here's another big inning for Bly Levin. His team has just scored. You go back out again with a thought in mind. Shut the opposition out. Shut them down in a hurry.
2-1 the count.
Jackson and Tekulve working in the Bucks bullpen. The thing to remember about Bly Levin is nobody, but nobody, has a better curve in baseball than that man.
2-2 on Garcia.
It's always just amazed me of the good pitchers that I've seen that had the good hard curve, how they ever had it, how they ever got it that big and that sharp. The Ryans, the Koufaxes,
well, when you don't, When you don't have that, you turn to the spitter, Doc. You know that.
No, no.
3-2 the count.
Well, the great thing is, if we go back to Baltimore, we get to fly with Rooker.
Shatters his bat, bounce down to Foley, and one shortstop throws out the other. One way.
I'd like to have somebody check the record for shattered and splintered bats in a series. Well, we've had a lot of them. Here's another one that just blows up on Garcia. Now he got it out on the end of the bat, and that's going to shatter a few right there.
That was a pretty pitch in the clutch. There was little the batter could do with that.
Al Bunbury pinch hit for Benny Ayala in the 6th inning and fly to left. Blyleven in his first relief appearance in 7.5 years.
This is the man who tortures Al Bunbury. Al 3 for 35 against him on a career basis. I said the other night when I talked to Al about it, I was about to interview Blyleven. He said, talk to him about it. If you find anything out, let me know. I need help.
Well, here's a guy here. You don't want to put him on. You're up by 3, but all of a sudden you put him on and you're just asking for trouble.
The 2-0 pitch, a strike, and the count 2-1.
Now questioning the call a little bit, but watch it for yourself.
The 2-1 is low, ball 3, and the count 3-1. Bunbury inserted into the lineup in place of Ayala, so hitting in the 2 spot. Singleton is on deck with 1 out and the bases empty. 4-1 Pittsburgh in the 8th inning. Count full.
I like the way this man is pitching. Should there be a 7th game, somewhere you'll see Blyleven.
And Bunbury is on. So he did exactly what Don Drysdale said you don't want to do right now, especially with Singleton coming up and Murray on deck.
They're tough. But this man appears to have good stuff. Outstanding.
And now you see what that double by Parker did and how big a run that Foley scored, scoring the 4th run. If they don't do that, all of a sudden you put a man on, and every man that comes up there following, you're looking at the potential tying run.
Exactly right.
Singleton hitless today, the 2nd time he's faced Blyleven. He bounced to 2nd, facing Bird in the 6th inning. Ground ball off Blyleven's glove, backhanded by Garner to Foley, 1 to Foley. Oh, what a double play.
Now you see the Pirates, as I said, who drove to the pennant. A brilliant double play at the exactly right time.
That's one of the finer double plays that you'll ever want to see. This ball hit by Singleton. Blyleven just got a glove on it. Now watch this backhanded flip by Garner. He makes the play backhanded and then just flips it in the air over the bag. Foley's there to make the catch. Bunbury coming in and Foley fighting off the runner to double him up.
So the Orioles are gone in the top of the 8th, and the Bucks come up with a score. Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore 1.
I want to say Singleton was at the plate and hits the ball up the middle, and I make a backhanded play, make a nice play to get it, but I flip it to Foley thinking that there's no chance we can get a double play, and we'll have to take our chances on the next guy. But Foley, who is tougher than boot leather and really enjoys the pain when somebody tears him up at second base, he kind of thrived on that. He stood right in and somehow turned the double play and got us out of the inning.
Phil Garner was the perfect guy to play in the middle of the infield with Tim Foley because they had just enough clash between the two of them. Garner's scrappy style, Foley's, I know everything style. They put together, and those two guys made each other so good in the middle of the infield. If the ball was on the ground, 2 outs and a ball hit in the middle of the infield, I never even looked. and took off as walked to the dugout. Never turned back. They never missed one.
When we face adversity, we find a way through it. It's about taking care of each other. It's the small parts that make a big difference. At Chevy, we promise to do ours. To help keep you on the road, your Chevy certified service experts are here and ready to help. If you require parts, maintenance, or repairs, Chevy and its dealers remain committed to your vehicle needs. You can even schedule your appointment online. It's just our way of doing our part.
Weather's perfect. Family's all together.
And we switched to Geico, save money on our boat insurance.
How can it get any better than this?
Dad, I just caught a goldfish.
There's no goldfish in this lake.
Whoa.
It's pure gold. We're gonna be rich. We're gonna be rich!
It only gets better when you switch and save with Geico.
Stargell was the captain. Stargell was called Pops. He was the unquestioned leader of that club. He had a great sense of where the club was psychologically. He wasn't a loud guy by any means. He didn't take place in much of the Parker-Garner stuff, but he was the leader. He was the unspoken leader.
Willie was special and motivate you to bring you up, and is always looking for somebody to, something to keep your face up and believe that we're gonna do it.
Willie had this unbelievable ability to talk at anybody's level. You could have been a biomechanical engineer, and Willie would have been able to talk to you about something. And he made you feel good about whatever you want to talk about. Or you could go down to a guy who could barely speak English, and Willie can make you feel good about being on a ball club. He was really, really a tremendous human being. That's the best you could say about him.
Well, it all comes into focus. This is a great World Series. It has been from the beginning.
Willie Stargell and Mrs. Willie Stargell.
And here is the great man, the presence, the leader. You know what they're doing in this town through Willie Stargell and his efforts? They're building a great new Willie Stargell Foundation.
And into right field, and Stargell has his first hit of the day.
So that his efforts to improve community life in the whole of the Pittsburgh area will no longer be limited merely to the magnificent work he's done with sickle cell anemia. But now we'll deal with all of the underprivileged, the disadvantaged. And here comes this man, Bill Madlock, as Weaver comes to the mound.
He's already pointed. He's made his decision as he crossed the line. He'll go to, it appears, Don Stanhouse.
What a marvelous man. You talk about candor. You talk about maturity. The man is a presence in this city.
Wilbur Darnell Stargell, the captain of the Bucks, as you look at Bill Madlock, who is 3 for 3 today. Drove in the go-ahead run in the 6th inning. The Pirates lead it 4-1. To center. He has his 4th hit. Stargell is running all the way, and Willie will pull in at 3rd. 4 for 4 from Madlock.
I don't know if there's a buck on Madlock, but they need to do something else with him. That's Mrs. Bill Madlock. Now in the background, the fans are going crazy. They're standing as one. They're waving the pom-poms as you look at this again. And Sister Sledges, the family. You'll be hearing it in Pittsburgh all night if you can get a Pittsburgh station.
Steve Nicosia, 0 for 3. Runners at first and third. The Orioles have the infield in. They can't afford to give up a run and go for the double play, not when you're down by 3.
Here's a case, too, where Chuck Tanner's going to stay with Nicosia. Instead of going to the left hand hitting odd, he might feel that Nicosia and Blyleven, he likes the way they're working together.
1-0 the count.
And when you've got a 3-run lead and a chance to pick up some more, you certainly agree with what Chuck is doing so much.
What an ebb and flow in this series.
Stargell, the runner at third. Madlock, who now has 9 hits in the series, at first. The Pirates have 59 hits in the series, an average of almost 12 a game. The Orioles with 4 hits today. A strike. 1-1.
Well, that gives Baltimore 41 on the series.
An 18-hit differential.
And still Pittsburgh battling to stay alive.
They don't quit on themselves, which is the key. The terrible, the saddening distraction of the death of the manager's mother, and coming out here and playing this game. The manager himself pulling out all the stops for his team as you look at Chuck Tanner, showing you why he led his team to the pennant.
The 1-1 is outside, ball 2.
Well, coming up on 7 o'clock, and obviously you'll not be able to see out of the blue. If the game ends before 7:30, you will get to see it then. It'll be presented from 7:30 to 8. Right. The sly old fox.
As he said before, he's looking for that 1-game winning streak.
But this has to hurt the Birds. They went with their ace, the best pitcher in the American League.
Out of play, off to the right, and the count 2-2.
And Mike Flanagan did a good job. He pitched extremely well. Again, the reminder, 9 o'clock Eastern tonight, the Rams against the Dallas Cowboys. Dorsett and Newhouse and Billy Joe Dupree against the Jack Youngbloods of the world. And then tomorrow night, the Vikings against the Jets.
Stargell at third. Madlock at first. Nobody out. Bottom of the 8th inning. The Pirates trying to stretch the advantage. They lead 4-1. Stanhouse has delivered a worker, as you'll see in either league. Three and 2.
Now there's nobody throwing in the Baltimore bullpen, so it's Don Stanhouse against the world right here.
Well, Earl said he almost killed him during the season. He was on the precipice of a coronary at least 12 times with Stanhouse. Now he's in another.
3-2 pitch. The runner Madlock goes as it's fouled away. Well, what is it about Stanhouse? When he's got the bases loaded, he goes 3-2 on the next guy. He's got him right where he wants him.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Weaver is beautiful. He's got some great expression.
He does.
Every time you look at him, you think there's something going on in there. He's got another trick up his sleeve. What a marvelous facial study. What'll he say, Doc?
I don't know.
The 3-2 pitch. Madlock goes again, and it's popped up in foul ground and playable, and there was some confusion initially, but Dempsey is able to make the catch. Murray came down the line and then retreated back to first, but Dempsey able to make it look relatively easy. One gone.
Well, you've got a guy here with a bat. It wouldn't surprise me. He had Stargell going with Madlock at the plate, and it wouldn't surprise me right here to see him start the runner at first base with Garner. Garner, a good contact man. He can move it around.
I don't believe what Davis has wrought with Oakland. After a dreadful start, they won a fortunate victory over the Rams. They lost several. They came back. They beat Miami last Monday night, and now they are simply crushing the Atlanta Falcons. As you see the sign for Bill Matlock, having himself a ball today. We may yet make 3 hours on this ball.
In the bullpen for Baltimore, there is Sammy Stewart, who was on in relief early yesterday. Garner hits it foul outside third, 0-1.
Well, Phil and Tim, who had had a difficult series of times in the field in the first 4 games, they got to be feeling a lot better. They showed the nation how they played down the stretch tonight.
Well, they've come back. They've played the caliber of ball tonight that the Pirates are capable of playing. We did not see the real Pittsburgh Pirates, I don't believe, in the first 4 games.
Yeah, but Baltimore had something to do with that. You got to look at it both ways.
The weather had a lot to do with it, too.
Same for both teams.
Right.
Soft liner by Garcia. That will score Stargell. Madlock will stop at second. The Bucks have another and lead it 5-1.
So Garner is 9 for 18 in this series. We keep going back to the way the little guys often become the heroes in the series.
And that ball just over the glove of the leaping Garcia. And that's another big run for the Pirates. They now lead by 4. They're 5-1.
Garner, 9 hits in the series. Madlock has 9 hits. Parker has 9 hits. Stargell has 8. A dozen today for the Pirates, and now 60 in the series. Bert Blyleven.
A most happy fella.
Blyleven bunting in the 7th inning, bunted into a force. Runners at first and second. The Oriole infield expects him to lay one down here with 1 out. Murray shallow at third. And the Sensei, Murray shallow at first. The Sensei moving in now from third as it's bunted foul. That time Stanhouse was coming down to cover the right side. The Sensei moving in from third base, and Eddie was going back to first.
They had to play on. Garcia was moving to third. That's why DeCinces was cheating so much and coming down the line hard. They looked for the ball at that particular time. The ideal situation right here with runners on first and second. Why, if you go by the book and you bunt, you want to bunt down the third baseline to make the third baseman field it. But now with the different plays that they have on, DeCinces will charge. Garcia will go to the bag at third. If they bunt down the third baseline, then DeCinces can get on it in a hurry. They've still got the force play at third. We'll see how they play it here.
This time the play is not on, and it's bunted down to Murray. And Eddie looked at third and then settles for the out at first as the runners advance. So Bert Blyleven, successful in his sacrifice. The Pirates now have men at second and third. 2 down, and Omar Marino,
You see manager Chuck Tanner and the kitten, Harvey Haddocks, Pat Blyleven. He has become the Bucks' most compelling pitching figure, and he's doing more than that when he bunts like that and sacrifices.
Boy, that's such a great help. A pitcher that can help himself out when someone puts a piece of wood in his hand. Not only sacrificing if he can make contact.
Marino getting walked here, so they'll pitch to Foley and play the percentages righty against righty.
Based on this series, I'd rather pitch to Marino. I don't understand this.
Walmart has struggled.
Probably a relief for Mrs. Marino to see her husband walk with men on.
So they're loaded up for Foley, who drove in a run with a triple in the 7th inning.
This great little contact hitter who hit .288 for the season, who hasn't struck out in now so many times at bat, it's almost uncountable, and has a way of getting key hits, knocking in runs, advancing runners. I've called them the subtle skills of the game, and he's an expert at them.
Now Stanhouse will admit freely that he really doesn't like to throw a lot of strikes. He likes to try and nibble. Well, he's got a guy up there right now that he better throw some strikes or he's going to be down another run.
5-1 Pittsburgh, 2 down, bases loaded. Oh, 1.
That was a beautiful pitch. Lovely curve, breaking down and away.
Way outside. 1 ball and 1 strike on Foley.
I think Timmy really had the key base hit in this ball game. Of course, when they tied it, that was also on a sacrifice fly by Stargell. Madlock had a key base hit to put him ahead. And then Foley with that triple to drive in a run. As you look at the runners, that's Madlock at third. What an afternoon he's having. 4 for 4. Garner at second and Moreno at first.
The other thing Tim did is he drew that walk in the 6th inning to set up the 2 runs in the 6th. Scored the tying run.
That's right.
1-1. 2-1 the count on Foley.
And, you know, talking about that walk, as we said before, that was the first 3-ball count that Flanagan had on anybody. He had been breezing through 5. He'd allowed only 3, make that 4 hits, and that was the only walk, and eventually came on to score.
Foley chanting to the music. Stanhouse says he likes to pitch with men on base. He should. It's been his life.
That's his job.
Fouled away. Well, if he goes according to form here, he'll throw a ball to make it 3-2. So Weaver can puff on about 6 more.
There's Timmy's pride again.
Two balls and 2 strikes. The walk, incidentally, outside of the intentional walk just issued Marino. That's the only walk drawn by the Bucks today.
Hear that? As you looked at Mrs. Foley, her eyes lit with joy. Ball players' wives live lives of sometimes quiet desperation, great insecurity. The moments like this one are very few.
The 2-2 pitch. Foley hits a bouncer toward the middle. Garcia has it. Skip away from him. 1 run scores, and here comes Garner. He scores, and it's 7-1.
I would think they'd have to call that a hit. And look at Mrs. Foley. Timmy has now knocked in 4 runs. As we've told you, he started things with a base on ball in the 6th. There is Garcia, the hero of the past couple of days. Suddenly, having the dejected face of a loser. Now look at that.
That's going to be a tough play for Kiko, although he could have made the play. He had to go far to his left. He had to play it on the short hop, which was a little bit to his advantage. It didn't catch him on an in-between hop. He just couldn't make it.
7-1 Pittsburgh. 2 on, 2 out. Dave Parker, the 8th man to come up in the inning. Struck out twice, singled and doubled.
They called it a hit, Don. I think it's a fair call.
I do. Just for the simple reason of how far he had to go get it.
So Foley with 2 runs batted in on an infield single.
And a total of 4 runs batted in today. The triple earlier, the blow that broke the game open. A change in pattern in what I call the ebb and flow of this series. Today, the Bucks not squandering the opportunities. And that graphic shows you what's next. Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern. And if a 7th game is necessary, Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern, both from Baltimore Memorial Stadium. What you must remember overall, though, in perspective is coming into Pittsburgh on the artificial turf. The attitude of the Birds was, if we win 1, we'll win it by winning 2 at home. They have won 2, and you mustn't forget it.
And they still have Palmer in Game 6, and if necessary, McGregor in Game 7.
So you have to say the pitching edge stays with the Birds.
Pickoff play is on, and he gets back in time, and it handcuffs Garcia. Kiko got there, and Moreno was almost picked off, but Garcia got handcuffed by the throw.
That's exactly right. Now Moreno, Garcia's behind him, but Garcia, that throw is a little bit into the runner, and actually Garcia, as you say, Al, you had it perfectly. He was just handcuffed. His main objective at that time was just let me catch the ball.
1-1 pitch coming up to Parker. 2-1. Well, this game quickly paced at the outset. He breezed through 4, and here we go again.
We're apparently going to make 3 hours again.
Yep. About 15 minutes shy of that mark right now. They throw to first on a set play, and it's a wild throw that winds up in the seats. So Garcia is moving back of second base. Stanhouse looking there and then going to first to try to catch the back man napping, and threw it away.
And I believe that got Foley in the batting helmet. Here you see Murray trying to sneak in behind. Foley's okay, but that got him in the helmet. Tanner and Tony Barterone got him in the side of the helmet and ricocheted all the way into the seat. Thank goodness for the helmet.
Moreno moving over to third. Foley scratching his head. You can't blame him.
You got to do more than that to get Foley out of there, I'll guarantee you.
Can't you see these guys all fired up now, the Bucks?
The error charge to Stanhouse. Another walk, Parker. Robinson on deck. And we'll see if Tanner might want to counter with Milner. Throw to third. Dempsey trying to get Moreno asleep. The intentional walk. The bases are loaded. And Robinson will back for himself.
And I think right here the reason behind that, they're gonna stay with the leather. They're gonna stay with the leather. As you look at Moreno again, they tried to whip it down there in a hurry, but Omar said, no, come on now.
So the Pirates have hit around in the inning. Robinson, the 9th man to come up. 1 for 3, plus a sacrifice. Crowd chanting P-I-R-A-T-E-S. Wild Bill has a clone in Pittsburgh. 1-0.
Wild Bill Hagee, you'll be seeing him again.
A lot on that man's mind today.
Oh, boy.
A lot of memories, a lot of love.
Popped up, and this will end the inning as the sensei gets underneath it and makes the catch. But in the inning, 3 more runs for the Pirates on 4 more hits. They have 13 in the game. And the Orioles coming up to face Bert Blyleven in the top of the 9th inning in game number 5. The Pittsburgh Pirates leading the Baltimore Orioles 7-1.
The series was supposed to be a pitcher's series. That many people thought that it was going to be a pitcher series. It turned out to be an offensive series on both sides of the equation.
We had made an oath as a team that we wasn't going to give up a pitch. We was going to have tough at-bats every pitch, and that works a pitcher in itself. You know, you cut down on your swings with 2 strikes, especially with me in the scoring position, and the emphasis go from driving the ball to put it in contact, and that was like our offensive attack. We wasn't going to give away any pitch. We wasn't going to give away any at-bat, and I think that accounts for us having as much success as to get to the bullpen like we did.
Swinging a deep fly ball to right, and Josh Bell has hit another one out of here.
And welcome to PNC Park.
Kevin Newman, his 7th home run of the game, just won it. Raise the Jolly Roger.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
Because you said rude things about my work, I started to question my own voice.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of your negative comments online, I've almost quit doing the one thing that makes me happiest in life.
Because you shared something about me that was private, I felt embarrassed.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included, and I knew that I was going to be okay.
Because of you sharing your story with me, I feel comfortable sharing my own.
Because you were there when I was coming out, you helped me regain my confidence. I'm still here today because of you.
And it came from a rain delay in Pittsburgh. And Stargell was sitting out on the bench to Kobe and myself. And the song came on, We Are Family. And Willie, said, that's going to be our theme song,
He's not a marketing genius. He's just got a feel for things. He reaches over and grabs the press box phone and calls Joe Safety, who was our PR guy at the time. And he goes, Joe, says, when this song's over with, I want you to make the announcement that this is the official Pirate Clubhouse song. And he hangs up the phone. Well, Joe Safety being Joe Safety, he does it. Well, all of a sudden, this thing takes on a life of its own.
We are family. Start coming out, and I tell you what, man, getting goosebumps again. And it came on and it just caught on like fire. I mean, not just here in Pittsburgh. We can go another way. Here comes the family,
Not only did the team buy into the We Are Family concept, talking about the players, but the entire organization did. And they began playing it over the PA system at Three Rivers Stadium. And when the people would hear it, they would just stand up and go nuts because they realized it represented what this team was all about.
There is the Parrot, and there they are as Jet 40's cameras pan over the people, standing as one. Sister Sledge in the background. We are family. And the sign corroborates it. A people in unison. This is what I meant when I said in an earlier game what a successful sports franchise can do for a people. It's no different in Baltimore. They brought pride to cities that, like all cities, have been troubled But now there is elation, and the Bucks are still alive.
Very much so. 7-1 Pittsburgh. Bert Blyleven going to work in the 9th inning on Murray, Renicky, and DeCinces. The Orioles scored first in the 5th inning, but the Pirates with 2 in the 6th, 2 more in the 7th, 3 in the 8th, 7-1 Pittsburgh. Eddie Murray, 0 for 3. In the bullpen, just in case, Kent Jacoby, the right-hander, and Grant Jackson, the left-hander. Give a lot of credit today to Jim Rooker. Rooker working the first 5 as the surprise starter. Gave up just 1 run. And then Blyleven out of the bullpen. He's allowed only 1 hit and no runs through 3. Murray hits a fly ball to left center field. Omar Moreno is waving Robinson away. 1 out.
And he was right to wave Robinson away. In a situation like that, the center fielder captains the outfield, a point Don Drysdale has often made.
Well, that's true, Howard. The center fielder, let him, he's the captain out there. He's going to take anything that he can get, and that is to his right or to his left. And when you've got a guy like Moreno out there that can go get him the way he can, why, it makes it a lot easier job on Parker and Robinson.
Gary Renicky, 1 for 3. Oh, 1.
Al, I'd just like to comment, too, on what you said about Jim Rooker. You couldn't ask for a man to give you any more at a better time.
Rooker today retired the first 10 men he faced. Did not allow a hit until the 5th inning. Just what the Pirates needed from their starter. Popped up in a shallow left field. In Foley, 2 down.
So we are on the verge of going back to the city by the bay. The other bay, the Chesapeake Bay. And don't forget tonight, a special Sunday night edition of NFL football with the Dallas Cowboys and their great weapons against the Rams and their great defense. And tomorrow night, the Minnesota Vikings. Holy Foley is what the sign says. Tomorrow night, the Vikes being held together by the wizardry of Bud Grant against the Jets. On average, going into today's games, the best running team in the NFL.
Doug DeCinces hits it deep but foul down the left field line and out of play.
He got all of that, just hooked it. That had plenty of home run depth. Oh, look at that.
What a shot. Billy Sullivan, our cameraman up there, taking these shots all day long from our helicopter.
Boy, that's beautiful, isn't it?
0-2. So they're 1 strike away from celebrating in Pittsburgh.
I think, and rightfully so. You know, the fans they've seen 2 losses over here. They've had a great year. They go out with a win. And Earl Weaver sitting there says, well, when do we get you in Baltimore, pal?
I'll tell you this. Yes, you're right about Jim Rooker, but this man, Bert Blyleven, has become the compelling pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. His excellent effort in the 2nd game, and now this, his first relief effort since 1972. This is the man they used to say couldn't win the big one.
Well, I think you can erase that right now.
He could not have pitched any better than he did in Game 3 of the playoffs against Cincinnati. And a relief roll today, magnificent. The 1-2 pitch, fouled away.
That is such a phony statement. I've never understood how anyone could make a statement like that. How you cannot win the big one. First of all, Blyleven's never been on a winner until this year.
That's right.
Here's where all the big stuff is in the playoffs in the World Series. Or the other fallacy, stay close and you'll beat him.
The 1-2 to DeCinces is hitting the left field, and Robinson coming on has to short hop it. So the Orioles stay alive barely on a single to left by DeCinces, and John Lowenstein will come up to pinch hit for Dower. John Lowenstein, who delivered the 2-run pinch double yesterday.
The Orioles, number 38, John Lowenstein, will bat for Mr. Garner.
Let me tell you something about that man, Bly-Levin. Again, to show you the nature and character of the people on these two teams. For the second year in a row, Bert and his wife, Patty, gave the Pirates a $1,000 check each month of the baseball season to buy tickets.
Lowenstein hits it into right field, and Parker is able to keep it from going to the wall and get it back in.
That Lowenstein has suddenly come hot.
And his
Buy
running mate.
tickets for others to attend a Bucks game. Really a remarkable thing.
He's trying to close him out here as Terry Crowley, who delivered the other 2-run double yesterday, comes up to pinch hit for Dempsey.
The Orioles, number 10, Terry Crowley.
And if Crowley can keep it alive, we'll see yet another pinch hitter with Stanhouse due up next, and Lee May has come out of the dugout.
When's the last time you saw a 7-run rally with 2 out in the 9th inning to overcome a 6-7-1 lead?
Well, it would certainly foul up my dinner plans.
A strike, 0-1.
This will not, no gift could leave in Chuck Tanner's bereavement today, but
bouncing ball is fouled at the plate off his foot.
But as much as one could do for that man has been done by his players today.
He's quite a guy. Probably the toughest thing he's ever had to do in his life today.
Absolutely.
Oh, of course.
Crowley with a new bat to count no balls and 2 strikes. Again, Bly-Levin within 1 strike of closing out the Orioles in game number 5.
I love him.
Sensational. 0-2 pitch. Is hit in the air to left field. This should do it. Robinson says, I'll take care of it. And they go back to Baltimore.
The sign reads, there was no doubt about it. And Timmy Foley will remember this day. But that man may be above all. And Bert Bly-Levin. There's Timmy. And the signs again come into evidence. The fireworks go off. The Bucks are still alive. There have been a lot of great World Series. The one between the Reds and the Red Sox, memorable. Cards and Tigers. But I think they're going to remember this one too.
It's why you play the game. You know, the big moments, the big games, the big confrontations with hitters, those are the moments that you relish. That's why you play the game. That's why you do all the off-season conditioning. That's why you throw when your arm hurts. That's why you just show up every day looking for an opportunity to get in one of those moments. And they don't come along all that often. I mean, there are going to be a lot of games along the line where you're going to go through and you're going to play, but that instance doesn't present itself. But every once in a while it does. And when you're able to get in one of those are the ones you really cherish, because, this is the biggest and best battle you can possibly have. And now, let me see if I'm good enough that I can win this battle. That's really the challenge. And like I said, you don't get those battles very often, so you relish when you do get them.
The Pittsburgh Pirates say thank you to all those serving others and serving on the front lines so that we can all stay home.
Pittsburghers know a thing or two about coming together. We cheer together. Look out for one another. We make this city whole. But right now, coronavirus is trying to change all that. So Allegheny Health Network is asking every Pittsburgher to join the Stay Home team. Stay inside so our doctors, nurses, first responders can focus on conquering this virus. Let's come together in a new way. Let's all join the Stay Home team today.
Your business extends far outside your four walls, which means you need someone out there you can trust with your fleet. Quick Fill Fleet Fueling offers volume discounts along with detailed free reporting and no fees. Regardless of the size of your fleet, Quick Fill makes managing it a lot easier. Providing exceptional convenience and American-made fuels, we'll take care of your fleet so you can take care of your business. Quick Fill Fleet Fueling and you. Driving America.
Zach Aston Reese, what a night!
It's unbelievable. I'm a little bit speechless right now.
Brian Russ, OT winner for the black and gold. Malkin fakes the tag, one-timer, he scores! Letang!
The mold for what teams desired in a player was shattered when Dave Parker hit the scene.
He was just a big, awesome presence at the plate.
Parker shook the sport with his physicality. He was a windstorm of size, speed, and brashness.
And him screaming over it at the other team players that we were going to, kick the you-know-what out of them.
Who's going to mess with him? Nobody.
He reached a zenith few Pirates ever touched.
Dave Parker was the best player of my generation.
Yet those singular brute abilities are stripping away by a rare disease.
He's falling, and he could fall and break a hip at any time. Fall and fracture a skull at any time.
A cobra is a long, venomous